If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me, but it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old, yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Most Americans are now going to have even less money to spend.
Violence in our cities. Catch, release, repeat.
101.9 and 94.1 NewstalkSTL.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. On this Monday, you know how some things stay with you long after they should have been forgotten. They're still rattling around in your mind. Well, today, I can't stop thinking about Vice President Kamala Harris telling the world that the southern border is secure. I think she did that about 10 days ago or a week ago. Why am I still thinking about this? I don't know. But it is one of the most extraordinary statements I have ever heard from a politician. The southern border is not secure. Every single Border Patrol agent from Brownsville, Texas to San Diego will tell you that. The videotape of thousands of migrants walking across the border every week shows you that. The fact that 5 million undocumented foreign nationals have been encountered by U.S. federal authorities under President Biden's watch proves that. Yet Vice President Harris has the gall to tell the world that the southern border of the United States is secure? I guess it's the outrage of it all. I guess that. Some people say, oh, it's stupidity. No, it's way beyond that. This is just blatant arrogance. I'm going to say whatever the deuce I want to say. Right back. I am excited about a new streaming platform called VidGo. VidGo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. VidGo has all of my favorite live sports networks. They have a great choice of news. All of that for $59 a month. You deserve the freedom to be entertained at a price you and your family can afford. Please go to vidgo, vidgo.com/Bill to check it out. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
beautiful autumn day out there after a cool morning under clear skies. The winds will pick up. It will be a little breezy this afternoon, but lots and lots of sunshine and a perfect temperature of 72 degrees. Overnight tonight, near 50 in St. Louis, 40s across much of the area. The high again tomorrow under sunny skies, 72 degrees. It looks dry and mild all week. Enjoy it. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News, analysis, opinion. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewstalkSTL.
We are just about 6 weeks away from the midterm elections. Man, the countdown is coming up on us really, really fast. A little bit later on this morning, we're going to review the Commitment to America plan that Representative Karen McCarthy and other congressional Republicans laid out. Let's look at the good. Is there any bad? Is there anything that's really going to motivate people to give Republicans a chance to lead in Washington, D.C.? That conversation, like I said, a little bit later on today. Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Mike Ferguson. Appreciate you making Newstalk STL part of your day as always. We had a very telling conversation with State Representative Tony Lovasco on Friday. The state legislature going back into session this coming week. It'll be the third calendar week of the special session to negotiate a tax cut bill, a tax cut compromise where the establishment Republicans and the conservatives are trying to decide how little a tax cut we're going to get. That's what's happening from the establishment, at least. So we got the update on what's on the table still and what's next. Here is what Representative Lovasco had to say. All right, Tony, the Republicans negotiated a tax cut down from what conservatives wanted. Senate perfects and passes a bill. It's headed over to you in the House, or has headed over to you in the House. What's the status and what's your take on the compromise that's been agreed to?
Well, that's an interesting question. We haven't gotten an official briefing on exactly the ins and outs of the bill, but I have read it, and I'm fairly certain I understand what's going on. So I'm going to give you my best analysis from my lay perspective. I'm not on the budget committee, so I don't know the ins and outs of some of the spending down to the mathematical level of some others. But from what I can tell, the compromise, quote unquote, that was passed out of the Senate basically started kind of with what the governor was proposing, which is taking the automatic step downs that are going to happen over the next 5 to 7 years in the income tax and basically bringing most of them into effect right away. The governor suggested that we drop the rate from, I think, 5.3% down to 4.8%, like immediately. This bill drops it to 4.9%. So it's not actually going quite as far as the governor was asking for, which is interesting. Furthermore, the compromise aspect was a lot of us were wanting the step downs to remain in effect after the tax was dropped to that 4.8%. And so the idea is, if Missouri hits certain economic benchmarks down the line over the next 5 to 10 years, the tax rate would be cut automatically even further. That was part of this compromise. However, the sticky part there is it looks like they have increased the thresholds necessary for the economic activity and the revenues to the state to be met so that those tax cuts are triggered. And so theoretically what we have here is a bigger tax cut over time than what the governor had proposed. However, it's less likely to happen. So I don't know exactly the machinations there as far as how much less likely and whatnot. That's kind of what I need to look into. It is still a tax cut, and because they did decouple it from the unfortunate agricultural subsidy bill that just passed by 2 votes the other day, I will likely be voting for this measure. But it's unfortunate we couldn't, go for a larger bite of the apple. So I think when the House tackles it, you might see some proposals from our side that go a little bit farther.
Yeah, Susie's got a question in a second. So basically, so Republicans who tried to negotiate a tax cut away are going to be able to take credit for a tax cut on election cycle.
Yeah, in fairness, it is a tax cut. It's just not a very large one. They say it's the largest tax cut in Missouri history. Well, it's probably true mathematically, but to be honest, we haven't had that many really enormous tax cuts in Missouri history, so not a large bar.
Yeah.
So, Tony, where are we in the process? I know you said you've had an opportunity to read the bill, but it hasn't been summarized yet. So, what is the next step for the House?
So my understanding is the bill will hit the House early next week in committee. We're scheduled to go back in to perfect and potentially third read the bill with our changes next Thursday. Mm-hmm. So things are still moving along. I haven't heard any major landmines on our side that might affect that. That being said, any changes the House makes, it's going to have to go back over to the Senate. The Senate is obviously pretty erratic, and so you never know how that affects, what things happen over there. But we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Hey, Tony, this is Ken. So overall, what is the morale based on everything going on right now? What is the morale on the left, and what is the morale on the right now? Is the left pretty fired up, and then the right's kind of confused? What's going on there?
It's interesting. I would actually say morale on both sides is pretty good from what I've seen. The left is convinced that they're going to just completely destroy us in November, and they're, of course, incorrect. But that's kind of their vibe. And I gotta say that the right is pretty geared up that we're going to have a big wave in November, which I think is also incorrect. I think we're going to have a kind of some small changes, probably on the right's favor, but I don't think it's going to be anything massive. I think we're going to be looking at a lot of status quo moving forward, and I don't like it, but that does seem to be what the boots on the ground are telling me.
We're talking with Tony Lovasco, Missouri State Representative. What about the standard deduction? Basically, that would affect everybody. The governor wanted to essentially double that, which would actually be a significant tax decrease. Is that still in the plans, or did that get negotiated out by the Republicans? In the Senate?
I didn't see that in there. And it's funny you mention that. But again, the way these bills are written, sometimes it's very easy to overlook something. It's possible they made some tweaks. I don't see anything in there that suggests that they doubled it. But I got to look at that a little bit closer just to be sure.
Yeah, that was one of the things that imagine this. I said this the other day, and can you imagine if establishment Republicans just got out of the way of the conservatives? What could happen in the state? How good it could get?
Well, and the thing that is really interesting to me here is that the governor's proposal to begin with was not, particularly expansive. It was a very modest proposal. The fact that we are ultimately possibly going to walk away from this with something less than what he was offering, that's an interesting strategy. I would imagine, if anything, we should be pushing him to go a little bit farther to the right on tax cuts than he's maybe comfortable, not the other way around. So we'll see.
Tony, given that dynamic, what do you see coming up for the next session as far as like the big battles that we may see, whether they're between right and left or between right and right?
Well, I would imagine it's probably going to be towards right and right again. I will say it's going to look different. We've got a new speaker coming in the House, Dean Plocker. We'll have different leadership, at least in some capacity, in the Senate. Their election is going to be a little bit less cut and dry. There's obviously been some changes in August as far as some folks that are likely going to be joining the ranks over there, and who they might support for leadership might be a little different than the folks that they're replacing. So, it really will depend on who's at the top of both of those ships to determine ultimately kind of what we're going to be bickering over. I would imagine we'll probably be seeing a little bit more expansive, a little bit more bold agenda items, just because it will be an off year. For whatever reason, our caucus tends to be a little bit more timid when it comes to an election year, which has always kind of boggled my mind, because in my mind, you want to tell the voters why you sent us there and do exciting stuff. That's the time to do it. We tend to wait till the off years, so we'll see.
And largely because of the absolutely irresponsible spending in Washington, D.C., Missouri is sitting on basically record piles of cash. And we're talking Scrooge McDuck kind of piles of money here in the state of Missouri. And this tax cut, to the point that you made, what was proposed, we're not talking about digging a lot out of that. This was really modest compared to what's out there. And so the idea that, we've got to protect government revenues 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road instead of giving Missourians the chance to keep more of our money during extreme inflation, why that doesn't fly through a Republican-dominated legislature is just beyond me, Tony.
Well, and what's interesting is, the proposal that the Senate sent us is less expansive, as I mentioned, at least immediately, than the governor's proposal. So much so that, there's room to do entirely different types of tax relief alongside it if we wanted to. There's a proposal by Representative Adam Schwadron out of St. Charles. He's looking to eliminate the sales tax on food. Right, that's something that everybody benefits from, regardless of your income level. Everybody eats, right? And that all things considered, when it comes to costing, quote unquote, the state revenue, is a drop in the bucket compared to what we're talking about. There's a lot of proposals like that we'd like to see added over in the House when we send it back over to make a statement that we're willing to go a little bit farther than what they're suggesting.
Okay, I'd love to see that. What's going to be the priority or priorities in the next legislative session, Tony?
Well, I still think we've said this a dozen times, and I'm hoping we'll finally get some initiative petition reform at the end of the day at the next session. That's something that we continually see happening is pretty well every November. There's another attempt to change our Constitution in ways that perhaps are not exactly what needs to be happening, and it has to pass by such a slim margin in order to make it in. We really need to have a broad consensus before we're changing our foundational documents, and that's something that we absolutely have to prioritize in Jeff City.
Totally agree with that. All right, State Representative Tony Lovasco, appreciate you being on the show again, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Tony.
The first news roundup of the week starts in about 4 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. What's happening today? Here's your first dose of the news you need to know. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Columbo and Katie.
The media and Democrats point fingers in one place to blame for the border crisis, and it's not the White House. We'll talk about this on Monday and get you caught up to speed on all the latest news.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. That's 800-979-3060.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, here's what kind of looking at the headlines and what's jumping out at me, kind of the top few things I'm seeing right now. Congressional Republicans, they roll out their theme for 2022. I question the wisdom of doing it on Friday, right before everybody tunes out the news cycle. But this week they're actually hitting the campaign trail with it. So we'll go over that this morning. Also, illegally immigrating to the United States kind of gets an upgrade to first class.
Awesome.
For the, I'm using air quotes here, migrants. Tell you all about that. Also, NASA plans to blow something up in the skies. I think Gabe's going to like this, Ken, because Gabe is actually back today. All right.
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. So he is back from his long secret mission that he was doing while he was sciencing rockets. It is a full-time gig, so we're glad to have him back. But really appreciate Susie Moore and Paul Kurtman pitching in, and Virginia Cruda as well. Of course,
yeah, they were a lot of fun.
That was absolutely a lot of fun. All right, well, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy rolls out the Republicans what they're calling the Commitment to America. We mentioned this on Friday. It's their strategy to win back control of the U.S. House this coming November. Fox News' Alexandria Hoff was in Washington County, Pennsylvania, which is where the Republicans unveiled that plan.
30 Republican House members joined Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to formally make their pitch to the American people.
It's a commitment to America.
Promising if Republicans can gain control of the House come November, legislation will be waiting to remedy what McCarthy sees as Democrat-led failures. He says the Commitment to America plan is the solution. It rests on 4 pillars: an economy that's strong, a nation that's safe, a future built on freedom, and a government that's accountable. Republican House members say the plan is unifying the conference ahead of the midterms.
You want to guess what the Democrats are referring to the plan as? One word. You get one guess. One word. What do you think it is?
Radical.
You're on the right track. You're on the right track.
Extreme.
Extreme. That's it.
Okay.
Extreme.
And I had no idea.
I know. Yeah. No, we didn't coach that. That's correct. Many Democrats saying they are going to keep their focus for the midterms on abortion and student loan forgiveness, to which common sense Republicans are saying, you please do that. Absolutely do that, because that only helps the Republicans.
Yeah.
That's how they're looking at that. All right. Gas prices, of course, much higher than they were 2 years ago, but they have stabilized lately and even dropped over the past couple of weeks by a few pennies, bringing the average around the country to around $3.78. And some people celebrate that, actually. Oh, how quickly we forget.
Yeah.
How quickly we forget.
I still have, and I don't think this is over. I think after November, we're going to see the reality of what's going on with the gasoline prices. But I still have on my profile on my Twitter account, it says we're still $2 off from where we were 2 years ago. And that's just the way it is.
Actually, that decline could be over now, as it turns out that gas prices are expected to rise in the next couple of weeks. Industry analyst Trilby Lumberg, who is probably the go-to expert when it comes to petroleum, oil, gas industry, explains why.
We had wholesale price hikes in the U.S. as there were several refinery glitches and planned maintenance around the country. So that curtailed supply and the perception of supply, and so wholesale prices jumped, and that is going to affect what dealers have to charge on the street.
Basically, when wholesale prices go up, that means retail prices are not far behind. Lundberg's survey also warns of spikes in the future. Everything from tropical storms and hurricane season, those tend to affect them regardless of what the politics are at the time. Just in case you're wondering, lowest price for gas in the country right now, Houston, Texas, which makes sense. They've got a lot of storage and refineries there. $2.96 a gallon, and the highest prices, no surprise there, San Francisco, California, $5.69 a gallon. And here's the thing is the policies of the Biden administration still suck and are still causing everything we're dealing with right now.
What a surprise.
Yeah, so don't forget that part of it. There was an interesting and very touching walk that happened at a local park over the weekend. What happened is about 2,000 people, is estimated, turned out to Creve Coeur Lake Park to address the toughest mental health topic. Our news partners, KMOV's Shoshana Stahl, was there. And the first voice you're going to hear is Mary Butler, and she recently lost her daughter, 14-year-old daughter, to suicide.
It's very heartbreaking to know that so many people going through the
similar thing that I'm going through.
The Out of the Darkness Walk is hosted by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Missouri Area Director Phyllis Blackwelder says it brings friends and family together who have lost someone to suicide.
It also brings those that struggle with their own personal struggles out here to let them know they're not alone and there's always somebody here to help them.
And that is, like I said, about 2,000 people showed up. It was the 15th annual walk. This was hosted by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can learn more at afsp.org, which is we're getting better about talking about mental health. I really do think that we are getting better about this. Suicide is probably lagging behind on one of the last things that we're willing to talk about in anything mental health related.
Yeah, we have to really get on top of it, though, because of everything that happened during COVID. Those shutdowns made more of an impact on kids and teenagers and young adults than we even realize.
I have actually, over the course of my life, lost a number of my friends, but I actually have had a few take their own lives, and that is beyond comprehension to me. I don't know how families can deal with that. That's not been something that's affected my life, my family's life. Thank God, it's affected friends' lives, and it's affected. I've had family members, or I've also had friends who have had family members take their lives as well. So that is something that I couldn't even imagine. But 2,000 people showing up for that is, to me, a good sign that more people are willing to have the really, really difficult conversations.
Yeah.
All right. President Biden makes a video, puts it out, making some bragging points as we're heading into the next elections here in a little bit. What do you think he's bragging about?
He's probably bragging about the great economy and, how he has taken care of things overseas and,
Well, actually, sort of. You've actually kind of touched on it. Here is the president with his handler, the first lady, standing right next to him when he's making the statement. This is like on a set, looking into a camera, controlled, not a news thing. This is just the president could say anything he wants. His team could say anything they want, and this is what he chooses to brag about to get American voters fired up about supporting him and the Democrats and the agenda amid all of the increasingly runaway inflation.
Last month, I signed the biggest climate bill in history, the biggest ever, $369 billion to slash emissions by nearly half. This is a whole new chapter for America and for the planet. And we have to do a lot more. I pledged $11 billion a year to help poor countries fight climate change.
Okay.
Working with Congress, with your help, we can get this done.
$11 billion a year, folks.
I hope he keeps talking about that. Because that's on the list of things of importance for the American people. It's like, 11, 12 of 10.
Maybe.
Yeah. People will forego the climate thing for good gas prices and food prices right now.
Being able to access baby food.
Yeah, that's kind of important.
And I am only 50, and I have lived through so many scares. I think I was supposed to be obliterated by the environment many times over by now.
Oh yeah, 1986 they were talking about. By 2000 we were done.
Right.
The Antarctica will have no more ice.
Yeah. Ice age. I've survived the ice age they predicted. I've survived the ozone falling apart and making us all into mutants. We've all survived that other than John Fetterman. Apparently he was affected by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've survived all of these scares. The scares only leave behind more regulations, higher taxes, and more fear-mongering. That's it. That's all they leave behind.
The thing that's bothering me so much is that the billions and hundreds of billions of dollars that they're taking from the American people for this. For the globalists. It's a robbing of our treasury.
I heard the cheering in the background on this. I don't know whether that was a sound effect that was being played or whether this was played at that Global Citizen Festival that was in New York City, which is a big kind of environmentalist sort of left-wingy concert series and stuff. And by the way, at that, did you know that they had a special guest show up for the crowd? And one of the singers, who I've never heard of, announced special guest. Look who's here, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Okay, New York City, one of the deepest blue places in the country, Global Citizen Festival. Nancy Pelosi comes out, so you know how she was greeted, right?
Yeah, she was probably greeted with roars.
Booed.
Is it because of her insider trading?
That's an interesting question because that actually was among some of the topics. I mean, the left is fired up over things like that too. And there's interesting tracking being done on that. It's amazing how many members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, have 100% success rate with their stock picks lately. 100%.
Man.
Markets are down, but they've got 100% success rate.
They're in the wrong business. They need to be going straight into that.
Sounds like they're in the
stock
right
market.
Sounds like they're in the right business.
Well, actually, yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I don't know if it's a matter of she wasn't doing enough in the eyes of the lefties or they see the corruption. I don't know. But it was interesting. There was some, the Blaze and some of those others had, social media video, and it sure sounds like she got quite booed out there.
Well, remember one thing. The Democrat Socialist Party, they're never going to be happy no matter what you do. When you do something for them, they want more. And then when you do that, they want a little more. And that's the nature of the Socialist Party, Democrat Socialist Party.
Well, there you go, is that the bragging point for the president is that we have to do more than spend $11 billion a year and the $367 billion. And he did admit that the last thing, the Inflation Reduction Act, was not that. That's his climate spending bill that he just bragged about. So there you go.
Karine Jean-Pierre claims that the Inflation Reduction Act actually will help the hurricanes this year. She actually said that.
Give them a check and they'll go away.
Yeah.
All right, Cardinals. Yeah. Cardinals are off today. They will be playing at Milwaukee for 2 games, which is interesting because Milwaukee is 6.5 games back. So the Cardinals could clinch the National League East this week. Also, let's see here, 8 games left for the Cardinals, so things are looking very good for the playoffs. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant regarding Albert Pujols' 700th home run here at about 6:05. Don't want to dwell on it too much, but I got to get some things off my chest. We'll talk about it just ahead here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with 1 unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. As Hurricane Ian moves in on Cuba, all of Florida is under a state of emergency. Once Ian moves into the Gulf of Mexico, forecasters expect it to strengthen as it bears down on Florida. Not sure yet exactly where landfall will come.
There's certainly some chances of seeing significant impacts. And, I don't want to water that down, but we all live locally. We're all worried about our neighborhood and our home, and it's just too soon to say who's going to see those impacts.
The National Hurricane Center's John Cangelosi. It's been a deadly school shooting in central Russia. Authorities say a gunman killed at least 13 people, wounded more than 20 others. This happened about 600 miles east of Moscow. The attacker said to have fatally shot himself. A Russian drone strike in Ukraine as the U.S. vows serious consequences if Vladimir Putin resorts to nuclear weapons.
Ukraine's military says an overnight drone hit near the port of Odessa sparked a massive fire and explosion hours after Washington vowed to take decisive action and promised catastrophic consequences if Russia uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine. The strikes, the latest in a series of drone attacks on the key southern city over recent days. This one hit a military installation and detonated ammunition when it struck. Ukraine's Southern Command says firefighters have been struggling to contain the blaze. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Italy about to get its first far-right-led government since World War II. The Brothers of Italy party won most of the votes in national elections, set to make Giorgia Meloni Italy's first female prime minister. Vice President Harris meeting with Japan's Prime Minister in Tokyo. Among other things, are talking about Taiwan and North Korea. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 189 points. NASDAQ futures off 55 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
And now a small business setback delivered by a kind French stranger.
Monsieur, there was an accident. The windshield of your catering van is, how do you say, kaput? But Progressive has an extensive network of repair shops. Now, we sing about the old days. Brave marin revient de guerre.
When things go wrong with your small business, it's comforting to know you have Progressive Commercial. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Croissance for everyone. Brave
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Discover. 270 northbound from 55 to McDonald, traffic's running about 20 minutes this morning. Westbound from 5570 in Illinois to McDonald's, about a 23-minute commute. 40 from downtown to 270, traffic's running 13 minutes. And from 270 to the Boone Bridge is an additional 11 minutes. 70 from Broadway to 270, traffic's running 16 minutes. And from 270 to Wentzville Parkway, traffic's running 21 minutes. They could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards. Or they could talk about how with Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Kat from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
Beautiful autumn day out there after a cool morning under clear skies. The winds will pick up. It will be a little breezy this afternoon, but lots and lots of sunshine and a perfect temperature of 72 degrees. Overnight tonight, near 50 in St. Louis, 40s across much of the area. The high again tomorrow under sunny skies, 72 degrees. It looks dry and mild all week. Enjoy it. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
Decision 22 News.
Inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
So typically what happens on a Friday night or a Saturday morning is not really still news by Monday, which is why so many politicians announce things and bury them on Fridays, so by the time 2 or 3 days goes by, people are moved on to something else, which is why, and I'll talk about this later, I don't really know why the Republicans decided to announce their big theme for the 2022 elections on a Friday. I know that's a little bit of inside baseball, but I don't get that. But anyway, they're hitting the campaign trail with it this week, so we'll talk about that here in just a little bit, just a couple minutes, actually. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:07. Ken, who is that over there?
Hey, Gabe.
Hi.
Gabe's back.
Welcome back, man.
Hey, guys, I actually work here.
And thanks for the donuts, by the way.
That's right. You're very, very welcome. See,
Sweet.
I had to do something for you guys coming back from my super secret assignment.
Right. That's funny. We were talking about how you were sciencing rockets and doing things.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
They still need a little more sciencing, but thankfully, I still have enough time to do this.
I also have a treat for you. It's 6:50.
Oh, really?
Yeah, NASA's going to blow something up in the sky.
Oh, I heard about this.
And so I want to get your thoughts. And even on the notes I send the guys
So
in the morning,
exciting.
I'm like, Gabe gets to geek out on this.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute here, because he's in it. But I love it.
There you go.
I follow NASA.
Oh,
I follow NASA's account on Twitter.
Ken gets to geek out too if you
Good.
want. All right, so we'll have that.
I
At
will neither
6:50.
confirm nor deny I'm related to that.
Fair enough. Also, let's see here. Depending on how much money you have, illegally immigrating to the U.S. is getting an upgrade for some illegal immigrants. I'll tell you about that at 6:20.
All right.
Yeah, kind of blowing up another part of the left's narrative on this, and
like first world immigration.
So we're talking luxury rafts across the Rio Grande.
Oh, it's. I think it's a little better than that.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
All
a
right.
little better than that. And then the Democrats are finally admitting, really what their weakness is in the 2022 midterm elections. So let's talk about what Republicans should be doing if they want to embrace and keep and expand that momentum, and what they should do if they really want to shoot themselves in the foot. Not that Republicans would ever do that in an election year. No, that would never happen.
Oh, gosh.
All right, let me get something off my chest here. Was it late Friday night? I guess it was. The Dodgers are hosting the Cardinals in Los Angeles, so it's a late game. It was the 9 o'clock game local time here, which means it was the 7 o'clock game in Los Angeles. And Albert Pujols hits number 699. And then he comes up later in the game, and of course, it's basically the middle of the night here. And the only people who can see this live are the people in the stadium in Los Angeles and the people who have subscribed to Apple Plus Television, their premium subscription service.
Really?
Those are the only people who are watching when Albert Pujols comes up to bat with 699 home runs.
Albert Pujols, homered earlier tonight, was one swing away from 700 career home runs. Pujols sends one in the air. It's deep to left. It's 700. Albert Pujols has joined the 700 home run club.
And somebody had to explain to Pat Robertson that he didn't just come on to his show. But I'm talking about Apple Plus, the premium subscription. That's what you had. And I was on a text chain with one of my ball teams, and I way to go, MLB, because Major League Baseball can't seem to find they can't miss an opportunity to screw up something for fans.
Big time. Big time.
And then one of the guys on the team said, well, actually, Apple, put it on their website, if you entered your Apple ID, they were going to let you watch that game for free. I didn't know that.
Well, they didn't advertise that.
They didn't advertise that at all. And so basically most of St. Louis, I'm going to wager 95% plus of St. Louis was not able to watch Albert Pujols hit that 700.
Oh, easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have that account.
Way to go, MLB. Dummies.
You guys suck.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could do the next 2.5 hours on how much the commissioner and the organization really suck.
Now, wait a minute.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
No, wait a second. Because I have a Apple. I pay a lot, actually, for 4 Apple iPhones every month.
Yeah.
So I have an Apple ID.
Then, in theory, you could have entered in that ID and you would have been cleared to watch that game.
And they didn't advertise that because they wanted people to get started on a new account.
They want you to subscribe, right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's not right. That's not right.
Ugh. Yeah.
I wanted to see that.
Some things that they've done, like, for instance, putting games on YouTube for free.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yeah, sure.
Because everybody can access YouTube.
Yeah.
You don't have to log in. You don't even have to have a free account to watch it on YouTube. You can just get onto the website and you can watch the game.
Yeah.
And YouTube does pretty well, I think, with their coverage. I've actually enjoyed it. But to put it on not just Apple TV, Apple Plus. the premium subscriber. That's how you watch that game. Unbelievable.
I hate that. I hate that kind of stuff. I really hate the paywalling of all the good stuff now.
Right.
That's been happening more and more lately. And it's
we're all old enough here to remember when Cardinals were on KPLR over the air television. I mean, I remember when I was in Decatur, Illinois during the summers. Of course, early cable television was just like over-the-air TV other than like ESPN and some of those that were invented for cable. But in the daytime, we would watch WGN's over-the-air broadcast of the Chicago Cubs because my mom's from the Chicago area or grew up in the Chicago area. And then in the evenings, it was we'd get KPLR and we watched the Cardinals.
Yep.
And it was all over-the-air TV. I mean, we all know I lived in Kansas City for a while. Used to be, I remember KSMO TV Channel 62 had the Kansas City Royals. And now none of it is over the air on television. So it's just the way things have changed because the business model's changed. All right, we're going to get into this a little bit more here in just a bit. Congressional Republicans hitting the campaign trail this week, and the theme that Kevin McCarthy wants them to have, especially for those in the running for the U.S. House or who are in the U.S. House, is their Commitment to America plan. And this is Kevin McCarthy, who obviously hopes to be the next Speaker of the House, explaining kind of what the theme is.
We also ensure fairness, that only women compete in women's sports. We give you a parent's bill of rights. We want an education system that's focused on children, that teaches them to dream big instead of what is happening today. We have a plan to catch our children up from the lost learning that happened to the pandemic. The Democrats have no plan. That's the difference.
Okay, so 7 to 5, we're going to talk to our good friend Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government, the offices in the D.C. area. So I think they're trying to strike the magic that Newt Gingrich had with his contract with America back in the 90s, guys.
Yeah.
That's clearly what they're doing. Basically, what they've done is taken the Republican platform and put it into bullet points.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to, catch the lightning the way that Newt Gingrich did, but it's a plan. It's something.
I was a kid when all of that was going down, so I was sort of aware.
You don't need to say things like that.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Youngin'.
My bad, guys. But the thing is, I was aware that it was happening. I wasn't exactly politically savvy at the time, so I wasn't deep into that stuff. I didn't read the contract for America, but I knew that there was something electric about what was happening in Washington, D.C. Yeah. And I don't know if the current Republicans can catch that sort of electricity, even in this climate where we've got a lot of valid and easily, obtainable pushback from the middle against what the left is doing right now. So I'm a little worried that we're not really going to be able to catch the lightning in a bottle, even though we're standing in a lightning storm.
Yeah, what is the big difference today versus back when it was originally, when they did capture that lightning, is the media. I mean, the media is not going to push this plan anywhere near where they did back then.
Well, they couldn't ignore it back then.
Right. I mean, it was something that it was. You couldn't ignore it. But not only that, they didn't have social media back then. So it's good.
Yeah, 94. Yeah, there wasn't any. Didn't exist.
No, social media would dilute any excitement about it as well. I mean, so it's not going to be the same thing. My thing is, I think the reason they did it on Friday, Mike, you made the comment about that earlier, is because I think they wanted to get the information out on the Sunday shows.
Yes, that's without question. They wanted to do that, which to me would be launch it on Sunday. Then it's more fresh on
launch it. Okay.
Monday. Yeah, because Friday is typically here's a little media tip because I've worked in communications for a variety of organizations. You want to say, yeah, we put that out to the public, but have people not quite notice it as much? Do it on a Friday. So I think the Republicans want everybody to see this, and I think they just picked a bad time to launch it. Maybe that's when everybody's calendars were clear and they could do it, but have the formal launch on them today. Everybody having a buzz about it, but they do have something to run on. Is it a good platform? Is it a bad platform? We'll go in more depth throughout the morning. 314-912-1019. Boy, some of these desperate asylum seekers are getting an upgrade on how they illegally immigrate to the United States. I'll tell you about it about 6:20 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. 270 westbound if you're traveling from Illinois, 5570 to McDonald, you're looking at about a 23-minute commute this morning. Northbound from 55 to McDonald, it's about a 20-minute commute. 70 from Broadway to 270, traffic's running 16 minutes, and from 270 to Winsville Parkway, it's an additional 21 minutes. 40 from downtown to 270, traffic's running 13 minutes, and from 270 to the Boone Bridge, an additional 11 minutes. Don't miss the energy savings event at Lowe's. Save energy and save money on select major appliances, including Whirlpool. Selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. Visit Lowes.com for details. Valid through 9/28. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Colombo and Katie.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, would you be able to publicly state for the record that Tony Colombo is your favorite Italian on News Talk STL?
Tony, I love you, but you can't hold a candle to your co-host there.
All right, but am I better than Vic at least? I want to just be better than Vic Porcelli.
They want to win your mind and your heart over. That's what they want from you, Mr. Secretary.
Tony Colombo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. If you follow politics semi-closely, something you likely look forward to during election season is the debates. What better way to get a good sense of where the candidates stand on the issues and how they hold up under pressure? And yet, more and more lately, we see candidates in high-profile races declining to debate. There are varying excuses, of course, but if you ask me, it boils down to one thing. The potential downside outweighs the upside. For the less polished contenders, they run the risk of exposing their weaknesses. Even for the more skilled debaters, there's always the chance of a verbal misstep that will undercut their image. A debate can only be so scripted. It's those off-script moments that can come back to haunt a candidate. So I get it. Strategically speaking, it may make more sense to avoid the risk altogether. After all, how many voters will decide not to vote for a candidate based on what they didn't say? In today's highly charged political arena, the odds are pretty low. Still, I'd much rather see the candidates square off. Lay out their platforms, make their points, defend them coherently, and rebut the challenges to them. In other words, show us that they're up to the task. Frankly, I have a lot more faith in a candidate who's willing to take that risk than one who isn't.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell
hell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right, 6:35, right after the next information segment. Democrats are to the point where they can't help but admit what their weakness is in the 2022 elections in November.
Okay.
Anybody want to guess what their one weakness is?
Their one weakness?
Well, their main weakness.
There's not any weakness.
What's their one weakness?
Yes, yeah.
They're crazy?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That kind of encompasses,
kind of on that.
Kind of encompasses
All
all
right.
of it.
6:23 right now. That's Gabe Pfeiffer back in from his secret mission. And, of course, Ken Williams here as well. Migrants, otherwise known as illegal immigrants, continue to stream across the southern border. We know they're getting bused to Democratic-led cities, right? You know, we know that Governor Abbott's doing that. We know that, Ron DeSantis is doing that. But now the Texas Department of Public Safety has found that some of the illegals are being transported by a new method, guys.
Okay.
Private jet.
Private jet?
Private jet.
Really?
Fox News' Alexis Adams has more. She files this report from Eagle Pass, Texas.
We see migrants here at the southern border cross right into the U.S., but the question is, where do they go once they get here? Well, it depends, according to sources here, exactly how much they're willing to pay these cartels. If they want to dish out thousands of dollars to those cartels, they can take private airplanes once they get here and be smuggled across the United States. On Friday, 19 migrants were found on that private plane in McAllen, Texas. The migrants were from Central America, and they had been staying in the United States for a few weeks at a stash house. Investigators say 3 cars pulled up to that private airport and dropped off the migrants. So a concerned citizen saw that and called 911. This is the 3rd bust at a private airport in Texas just this month alone.
Okay, can I just point out, if you've got thousands of dollars to give to a cartel, you've got thousands of dollars to go through our immigration process properly.
Yeah.
Or at least get that process started properly.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting a private jet somewhere. You're not a desperate asylum seeker who's fleeing a deadly situation somewhere, okay?
And if they're able to get a private jet to be used for this, they're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
the cartels are making huge bank.
Just translate into a lot of people coming into this country illegally.
Right.
That's really wild to me. I can't. Have you guys ever just seen what private jets are?
Oh, I've
man.
I've been on a private jet one time.
Yeah.
One time. And no, I didn't pay for it. One time, and I'm telling you, it ruined me for commercial flight for the rest of my life.
I thought first class was a thing, and that ruined me for regular.
I've actually never had a first class flight. I have had all my flights in just regular coach and one very short private jet flight.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I flew business class, basically. The company's paying for it. They fly you business class. It's basically first class, and that messed me up for a good many years. And then I just saw kind of like from afar what it would be like to fly. Yeah, so private jet is basically first class on steroids. And it is so, I don't know if any of you out there are listening to that and can relate to what I'm talking about. You've had to walk by first class, right? It's that plus some, and it's amazing.
Shall I describe what the private jet was like?
Yeah, please. Okay. Yes, so, you have the firsthand knowledge here.
First of all, the driver picks me and the speaker that I am accompanying to another city at the Chase Park Hotel. We drive out to the airport. Go through the private entrance, no TSA. The pilot and the co-pilot are standing there at the bottom of the plane. When we pull up, they have to look at your driver's license just to make sure your name matches the manifest. They take your, suitcase or briefcase or whatever, and put it in the back of the plane. And you go up and sit in. You walk in, newspapers are laid out for you. Catch your pick. There was a nice pastry layout. There was a, of course, multiple coffees, nice fruit tray that I could choose from, teas if I wanted that. I did look at one of the cabinets that wasn't on display, but there was quite the liquor hall that was available, which, by the way, I did not touch because we were flying out early in the morning, and I just think it's a bad idea on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
But so you sit there in these big, luxurious chairs, recline back. I think this one sat 8 people or 10 people, but there were only 2 of us on it. The pilot looking back, hey, you need anything? There's more coffee creamer, that kind of stuff. Bathroom in the back, very nice, carpeted, the whole 9 yards. That's what it was like. And I'm thinking, hey, can you circle around the city a few times before we land? Because it was literally less than a 1-hour flight.
Okay, so you're like, I would like to stay in this space for just a little while longer.
This is how the other half lives.
Yeah.
Not even the other half. This is how the other 3% lives that I will probably never experience again. And then the next time I had to get on, go through TSA, get on a commercial
take
flight.
Take off your shoes.
Yeah, take off your shoes. Sit next to the chatty, smelly person next to him. Like, oh,
your nose is basically on the seat in front of you.
I'm just like, good Lord.
Dave's on the line, but I don't think it has so much to do with the luxury planes as much as it does with the illegal immigrants getting on the luxury
right.
plane.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. And I don't know how luxury they are, but they're private jets.
Well,
they're at least thousands of dollars to get somebody flying around to escape all of the other scrutiny. Which, by the way, I thought the FAA would be tracking every flight in the country. Aren't they supposed to do that?
You're supposed to log a flight plan.
Hey, Dave, you're on Newstalk STL.
Good morning, gents. How's my favorite pirate, Mike?
Still pirating, still sporting it. But you know what? I'm every day I'm seeing the blurriness is getting a little less blurry.
So you're doing all right.
That's right.
My name is Mike Ferguson.
That's great to hear, Mike. Hey, I was thinking while I was getting knowledge from you gents, why don't the attorney generals from the states that think right sue the Biden administration because they have a responsibility to keep us safe? Use the video that they're collecting from the border to sue them. Again, we know it's going to take time to get through court, and I'm not a big one to file lawsuits. But again, you guys have even said it 1,000 times. Steal the Democrats' playbook, use their playbook against them, and guess what? They won't like it.
Well, there have been some lawsuits, filed, and some of them have gone the state's way. Eric Schmidt's been involved in a couple of those, and others have gone the Biden administration's way. But they are in that battlefield. It's not getting a lot of attention, but they are in it.
Well, hey, also, I'd like to thank you guys because I have to unplug. I don't know how you guys do this for a living because I would either drink more than I do or start some kind of it's maddening. And when you hear these POSs on the left talk, and they actually believe what they're saying, I'm like, my God, I wish I was a therapist. I'd make billions.
I find myself behind the computer sometimes looking at some of these remarks, and it's not just on Twitter, but everywhere. And I think, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on here? How can you believe what you're believing right here? And I can't respond. But it's like, and I'm yelling at my computer. My wife comes and she's like, you need to come on outside here for a minute.
Okay, stop now.
Hey, one final thing, if I could, guys.
Sure.
I don't know. I haven't heard it. Not so you guys haven't done it. But promote Andrew Jones to knock that fat behind Cori Bush out. Do I think he stands a chance? You never know.
Yeah, he's actually been in the studio with us a couple times.
Yeah.
I heard the one, but and again, I know you guys. There's only so much you guys can do.
Right.
But there's another seat that we have to steal away, and if nothing else, just revert back to the old days. That's a joke. That's a joke. I don't want the FBI showing up at my door.
All right, Dave. Appreciate you being on.
Guys, thank you. Love the show.
Thanks, Dave. News Talk STL. All right, just ahead. Let's see here. Democrats. They know they have to direct the conversation away from what's actually happening in the country right now in order to stand any chance in November. But could they succeed? Remember Jen Psaki? She's back. She actually assesses what could go wrong for Democrats. You'll be a little surprised that she acknowledges this so bluntly.
Really?
You'll hear it at 6:35 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasevich. St. Louis Public Schools will shorten the day in response to the ongoing bus driver shortage. Beginning on October 3rd, the district will shorten the school by 10 minutes for all first-tier schools at the end of the day. Governor Mike Parson on Friday named Circuit Judge Renee Hardin-Tammons to the Missouri Court of Appeals at St. Louis. The governor made the appointment pursuant to Missouri's nonpartisan court plan, in which the Appellate Judicial Commission gives the governor a list of 3 applicants from which to choose. Beginning today, a Metro Transit shuttle will transport riders who need to travel between the St. Louis Downtown Airport Sauget Business Park and the 5th and Missouri Transit Center. The van is a temporary alternative to the No. 2 Cahokia Metro bus while construction crews complete work on the Curtis Steinberg Bridge. That work is expected to be completed in 2 months. A 49-year-old Florissant man died after a crash Friday afternoon involving a Metro bus in North St. Louis County. Investigators say the Metro bus was stopped on the road of the route when the man approached it and struck the rear left side of it. And in sports, the Cardinals fell to the Dodgers 4-1 in LA last night. The Cardinals' magic number to make the playoffs is now down to 3 since the Brewers lost to the Reds yesterday. Next up, the Redbirds head to Milwaukee for a 2-game series. Tomorrow's game starts at 6:40 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies. 270 westbound from Illinois, 5570 to McDonald. Traffic's running about 24 minutes this morning. Northbound 270 from 55 to McDonald, it's a 21-minute commute. 70 from Broadway to 270, traffic's running 16 minutes. And from 270 to Wentzville Parkway, it's an additional 21 minutes. 170 from 270 to 40, traffic's running 10 minutes. And 40 from downtown to 270, you're looking at a 13-minute commute. Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things because they believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Beautiful autumn day out there after a cool morning under clear skies. The winds will pick up. It will be a little breezy this afternoon, but lots and lots of sunshine and a perfect temperature of 72 degrees. Overnight tonight, near 50 in St. Louis, 40s across much of the area. The high again tomorrow under sunny skies, 72 degrees. It looks dry and mild all week. Enjoy it. I'm KMOB First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Monday featuring Jeff Rowe, political pro at 4:05. Former U.S. Senator Jim Talon, Susie Moore of Red State at 5:25.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Going to be an explosion in the heavens coming up. Going to tell you about it at 6:50. Ken and Gabe are both going to nerd out about it.
Yeah, boy.
And did you know that there's actually a special promo cut to get everybody to watch it?
Really?
Yeah, I've got that. I've got the audio. I don't think you're going to hear that anywhere else.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Awesome.
That's still head around 6:50. 6:37 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Gabe Pfeiffer back again after his 2-week-long hiatus.
Yay.
And Ken Williams, of course, here as well. All right, Democrats, rest of the left, they're now to the point of admitting that Joe Biden is really on the ballot and everything Joe Biden's been pushing. And Joe Biden's agenda, which the congressional Democrats have embraced and tried to push, they admit that's on the left, or that's on the ballot right now, and that's not good for them. Jen Psaki was on Meet the Press. Of course, now she's got her new gig with MSNBC, and as part of that gig is she's now an NBC News contributor, and she was remarkably blunt in trying to assess what's going to decide whether Democrats or Republicans win in many parts of the country.
If it is a referendum on the president, they will lose, and they know that. They also know that crime is a huge vulnerability for Democrats. I would say one of the biggest vulnerabilities.
Which is why Democrats want to talk about anything other than inflation, anything other than the things you cannot find at the grocery store or the hardware store or the home improvement store or whatever store. They want to talk about anything other than businesses struggling to find workers. They want to talk about anything other than the outcomes of their actual policies.
Oh, yeah. I think every Republican ad coming up should be basically a video montage of people getting accosted, in the crime waves in the various cities.
Oh my God, there's so many
empty shelves, or the ticker running on the grocery stores,
right.
And all these things. The gas station, a view of your gas pump going nuts. All of those things. It should just be a constant running stream, and then like a voiceover of the president talking about how great he's been doing.
Yeah.
There have been some amazing videos lately, especially. I mean, I saw one last night that I couldn't even watch the whole thing. It was in New York, and it was a really big dude, and he was trying to steal a purse from a woman walking in the subway, and he just threw her against the wall. She basically passed out, and then a guy came in to help rescue her, and he looked at him and he ran away. And the headline was, New York has fallen.
Yeah. I mean, look at San Francisco, Chicago, New York. You can even look at St. Louis in a lot of ways. So what are the ways Republicans can focus and grab the momentum, keep it in the right place for the next 50 whatever days? I mean, what do they need to do?
I agree with Gabe. I mean, you have to keep moving forward and hammering exactly what is going on and what the Republicans can do.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, yes. I mean, the scaremongering essentially is what I'm calling for. It's kind of necessary just because people forget how bad things are. Like they just kind of leave. They get used to it. It's the same way we've gotten used to $3.75 gas.
Yeah,
and we call that good. No, guys. You remember $2.50 gas? I mean, like
remember $1.81?
Yeah. That's the kind of thing.
A lot of reminding then. Reminding and putting the spotlight on, because we know exactly whose fault this is.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly whose fault this is. I think that the videos of thousands of people just pouring over the southern border reaches out to independents as well.
Kamala, and you always juxtapose it with the Democrats and Kamala Harris saying the border is secure. Always juxtapose it to their lies.
See, this is the reason why we have to keep reminding, because if you listen to the reports from Biden's mouth himself and from Kamala Harris and from Karine Jean-Pierre, everybody, they're saying, oh, no, Everything is fine. In fact, we've attacked this plan, this problem, and we've got a plan for it. In what's his name? The border czar, the guy Mayorkas, yeah. He actually said, "No, the border's secure."
You're right.
The border is secure. And then the pictures next to him were them flooding over the border.
Okay, here's the flip question.
Yes.
Yeah. If Republicans want to do that great Republican tradition and do the circular firing squad and then the shooting yourself in the foot, what would they do?
How do we screw up?
Or they screw up. How do Republicans screw up?
We talk about 2020.
There you go. Yeah.
We talk about sadly we talk about abortion. Because
Democrats want to talk about abortion. That's all they want to. They want to talk about that. And they want to talk about student loans, and they think that's going to be enough to get them to win.
It becomes a deflection, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as it's a contentious item that we do need to keep going on, that's not an election item.
Right.
That's not on the list of election things.
Right. Lindsey Graham was a big gift to the Democrats. I don't know what was on his mind.
It was so dumb.
I would even go as far to say what. Who paid you off from the Democrat Party to say what you said? Because what they did with it, they're rolling with it. I mean, they're saying not only is it about abortion now, it's about marriage.
Oh yeah,
it's about gay marriage. It's about everything.
That's why they put that bill up. Like they're trying to talk that bill up. The marriage, trying to codify gay marriage at the federal level is because they want to keep on this. Oh, the Supreme Court is wild and out of order, and they're going to do something crazy. It's like it's all garbage. It's all deflection. Don't get caught in it.
Which is why the Republicans must keep the focus on the things affecting us in our lives. What people, what political consultants kind of callously call kitchen table issues. Which is kind of arrogant of the consultants and the comms people and all that. But that's what it is. It's like when you're having dinner, at home and you're looking through your social media feed or you're just talking about what's going on. What's the stuff that you sit there and, talk about that's affecting you at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things that do it. Man, we really want to go to grandma's house this weekend, but geez, we got the mortgage payment coming up and man, gas prices have been killing us. We used to spend $85 a week at the grocery store. Now it's $150. We may just have to wait until next time. Let's get there. We can't get there now. Let's just wait till Christmas. That kind of stuff.
Just a couple days ago, Janet and I sat down and we redid our budget based on new pricing because we've noticed a significant increase in what our receipts are from the gas station, from the grocery store, and all of these places. So, yeah. That's exactly what happened. It wasn't in the kitchen, but there was a discussion about money in our house, and it was not good. And we know exactly who did that to us.
Right. Yeah. And so does everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, even those who want to scream it's the Republicans' fault, they know whose fault this is. They just don't want. They really want to gaslight the middle and the independents into being scared of Republicans, which is why they use words extreme, radical.
And I agree with both of you. We need to continue and not relitigate the past.
Mm-hmm.
But we also do need to remember that there are concerns out there about the voting booths being rigged.
Start talking about that in January.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing too is like as far as that's concerned, that's not a voter issue. That's a legislature issue.
Yeah.
That's all of you Republicans in the legislatures, you guys deal with all that stuff.
Right.
You create the laws, you create the checkpoints, the checks and balances and all that stuff, and you deal with it. Don't talk to us about it. We can't do anything. You make the laws to fix it.
Right.
Yeah. All right. 314-912-1019. Going to be a big boom. Going to happen up in the sky. That's right. It's going to
be a little bit bigger than that.
Just a little.
Not a pew pew pew.
Not as impressive as. We'll take it out.
We'll tell you about it. Let's talk about that at 6:50 here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. How was that sound again?
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies. 55 northbound heavy traffic between Butler Hill Road and 270, and 55 northbound slowing between Weber Road and Virginia. This is for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes in that area. 270 northbound from 55 to McDonald, you're looking at about a 21-minute commute, and 270 westbound from 5570 in Illinois to McDonald, you're looking at a 23-minute commute. Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things because they believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. I'm Kat from the NewstalkSTL Traffic Center.
Stay top of mind with your customers, stand out from the competition, and drive productivity with a podcast for your business from Epic STL Podcasts. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. I pay cash and close in as little as 3 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and any location in St. Louis. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast, call me at 314-293-3000. That's 314-293-3000. 314-293-3000.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't believe the Democrats are stupid, but I think they don't care.
Live and local.
And embarrass himself at that press conference.
He's become kind of clownish, right?
Do you think he's going to run?
This is News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, what you're going to hear from a lot of Republicans now is commitment to America. Commitment to America, commitment to America, commitment to America, commitment to America. So it's 7:05. We've got our good friend Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government. We're going to find out, are all Republicans and are all conservatives really excited about this plan that Kevin McCarthy's laid out? Maybe, maybe not. We'll do that around 7:05.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:50 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer back in studio with us. Ken Williams is here. The number, as always, 314-912-1019. All right. Can NASA save the planet from an asteroid?
We'll see.
Makes quite the movie, right? Well, NASA hopes to find out tonight. They actually made that movie. What was that movie? It was on one of those streamings.
Armageddon?
No, it was Armageddon, but there was another one more recently. It was like, who was it? It was...
You're not talking about Moonfall, are you?
No, the one that was just, I don't remember if it was a Netflix show or one of those. It had a bunch of big name actors on this.
Oh, and it was like the president was like, "Oh, that's just hogwash."
That's the one, yeah. And it
was, I haven't seen it.
And
it turns out it was true. It was real.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And it was basically turned into like an environmentalist kind of preachy, stupid thing. But had a bunch of big names in it.
Netflix.
Yeah, I want to say it was like Leonardo DiCaprio and some of those others that were in it. Yeah, it was. What was
her name? The president was a woman.
It was a blonde woman,
hair,
right? And her personality was like a very Trumpy character.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and so
they're gonna make
right, and then it was. I mean, there were some funny moments in it.
But it was brutally stupid.
It was
wasn't
brutally stupid.
It was called Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up. That's
oh
it.
My
That's
gosh.
it. That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I kind of heard about this.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Rachel and I watched it because we're like, all right, we'll see what this. And a few minutes in, it's like, this isn't very good. And then we're like, okay, but we're kind of committed now. Like, this is terrible, but I want to see how bad it gets. And it just got beyond ridiculous. I'm trying to think of who the other character or the other actors. There was a lot of like big name actors.
Yeah, one of their main focuses were when you use words and mix slogans up.
Yeah.
Don't Look Up is actually a slogan that they use to divert your attention away from what was actually happening up there. And so their mantra was, instead of MAGA, it was Don't Look Up.
Yeah,
you're the Don't Look Up crowd.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotcha.
It was all designed to be a parody, and I mean, so after, I mean,
it's however lacking in intelligence.
Oh
entirely.
my goodness!
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And in the end, the asteroid hits, and everybody except a few elites, die.
Well, what happened actually at the end is the elites.
Yes.
Now this is what I thought was interesting, because they actually admitted it.
Right.
The elites got on a special ship.
That's right.
That took off for another planet.
Oh no! They came back to our planet.
Oh, did they?
They were like frozen in for like hundreds of years.
Okay.
Oh, they went on a little trip.
So they come back and they see a bunch of
dinosaurs,
little animals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the little cute little animal she walked up to the president,
who was
and
naked.
ate her.
Yeah, the president was naked.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and
they're all naked.
Yeah, which actually was a very funny thing, because earlier there was a foreshadowing of it that didn't make any sense at the time, and then at the end, So
well,
it was dumb. It was dumb.
But you know who's smarter than Hollywood writers?
Who's that?
Rocket scientists.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Yeah, they are.
Here's what's going on. There's a test that's happening tonight. Evan Brown from Fox News explains what's going on, and then Ken and Gabe are going to geek out.
There is no asteroid about to hit Earth, but NASA wants to see if it could knock one away.
DART is the world's first planetary defense test mission.
Dr. Tarek Daly with Johns Hopkins is also a NASA scientist working on DART, or Double Asteroid Redirection Test. They're going to smack an asteroid with a spacecraft to see if they can change its orbit, and you'll be able to watch.
So the camera on the spacecraft will be streaming images back to Earth every second, and it's going to be streamed by NASA like a movie. You'll see the spacecraft come in and hit the asteroid.
NASA's website will have the image. The impact is scheduled for 7:14 Eastern Time tonight. Eben Brown, Fox News.
So 6:14 our time, and I am not even going to comment on the NASA guy really stereotypically sounding like a NASA guy.
His voice got me there.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Yeah.
We need better spokespeople.
Okay, so Mr. Rocket Scientist,
yes,
explain this. What's happening tonight?
Okay, so essentially, there's imagine a large bullet moving at thousands and thousands of miles per hour, millions of miles away, and we shoot it with a smaller bullet.
Okay.
It's like that's basically the task at hand.
And so what is it that we're wanting to do with this? They said they just want to measure to see if we can move its trajectory at all. I mean, is that the whole test?
Well, the asteroid that is the target here, it's Dimorphos, I believe is the name of it. It's circling around a larger asteroid called Didymus.
You're just showing off.
well, and the thing is, because we know how often it's able to rotate around we know the period that it takes to go around the bigger asteroid. So if we hit it with this satellite, conceivably we can slow it down enough so that we actually change the period. We change the rotation around the larger asteroid, and it would be a measurable distinction.
Now, how big is the primary target?
I think it's 14 million pounds. Something like that. It's really big.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's really big.
To get a good reading, some of these asteroids are huge.
Yeah. So what's
mountain size? What's
the practical aspect? What is it that, if this is successful, we think we might be able to do down the road?
Well, the thing is, if let's say this asteroid was headed towards us, the thing is we'd have to detect it for very, very far away. And a tiny movement, a tiny change in the its orbital period, perhaps around the sun, is probably where these asteroids are going around. that tiny change would amount to a large difference between our two trajectories. So if the idea is, well, we're circling around the sun, they're circling around the sun, and we're probably going to meet at some point, that asteroid's going to hit us. If we're able to change its trajectory just a little bit, nudge it, the distance is so far that eventually, by the time it gets to us, it'll be a good distance away, and we'll escape doom.
So NASA's saying you can actually watch the collision.
Yeah,
the explosion, the action.
It's going to be live stream. That's so cool.
That is so nice. That's so nice.
Monday! Get ready for high-power NASA thrusting, dart-crashing, asteroid-smashing action! It's the double asteroid redirect mission, better known as DART! Spacecraft versus Dimorphos! Watch all the action on the camera live stream Draco! Don't miss the slamming, the trajectory changing, the total spacecraft destruction! $325 million gone with one big hit! Monday! That's today, live 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there!
Well, at least it's not pay-per-view.
That is so cool. Oh, I love that so much. Oh my gosh.
I want that.
Okay. Yeah. We need copies.
I'll send it over to you.
Monday. Yeah. That's today. 6:50.
Can we just say that maybe this is one of those things that we can all unite on, that we want to see stuff blown up in space?
Yes, absolutely.
At least guys. I'm sure there are women out there that love it, but
we like blowing things up.
Yeah.
If we can blow up a 1,300-pound spacecraft, I mean, come on.
360 million, did he say?
Something like that.
It's
blown up instantly.
Let's see. It'll be about, Dimorphos will be about 6.8 million miles away at the time of impact.
All right.
And we can get a signal from 6.8 million miles away.
Yep.
That's insane.
I mean, the moon's only 285,000 or something like that?
I don't remember.
285,000. And that's a million miles. That's pretty far away.
So we're not talking about blowing this thing up. We're just talking about trying to somehow alter its path.
Yes, exactly. And as comedic as I was when I did the little, as that's essentially what the impact will look like if you were looking from far away, because of how big Dimorphos is and how small the DART is. But we're talking about 1,300 pounds moving very, very quickly. There's a lot of kinetic energy that's going to be released there. It'll be a big boom on a grand scale, and it'll really change some things.
Sweet.
All right, commitment to America. Is it going to be the fuel that takes Republicans to power in the House and in the Senate, but the House in particular? Our good friend Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government gives us his take on that right around 7:05 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Range St. Louis West is Missouri's best indoor shooting range. With 20 climate-controlled lanes, over 70 firearms available to rent, and the best staff in the business, you're guaranteed to enjoy every minute of your time with us. Our impressive showroom is full of the latest and greatest offerings from the best manufacturers in the business. Need an optic, spare magazines, holster, or any other accessory? Let our professional staff help you find exactly what you need and get it installed for you. Mention you heard us on News Talk STL and save $100 on your membership and enjoy even more goodies. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Having graduated to hurricane status, Ian continues moving north toward the Gulf of Mexico, where further strengthening is expected before the storm hits Florida around midweek. Exactly where landfall will occur remains unknown, but officials in the Tampa area say that they're getting ready for the storm. The National Hurricane Center's Daniel Brown says Ian expected to reach western Cuba by this evening.
Cuba is expecting extreme, dangerous hurricane force winds. Also a life-threatening storm surge and heavy rainfall.
At least one death blamed on the storm that battered Canada's maritime provinces over the weekend. An elderly woman was killed in the province of Newfoundland, where more than a dozen homes are destroyed by the remnants of Tropical Storm Fiona. Puerto Rico has a long way to go in its recovery from Fiona. Power is still out to more than half the island, and a lot of people are without running water. It's been a deadly mass shooting in central Russia. At least 13 people killed.
The shooting happened at School 88 in the city of Izhevsk. At the start of the school day, a gunman entered the building and went on the rampage. According to preliminary information from Russia's investigative committee, at least 20 people have been wounded. Among the dead are several children. Local officials say the gunman's body was later found. He's thought to have shot himself. The motive for the attack is still unclear.
The BBC's Steve Rosenberg. Giorgia Meloni is on track to become Italy's first female prime minister. Her far-right Brothers of Italy party collecting the most votes in national elections, giving Italy its first far-right-led government since the Second World War. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures down 162 points. NASDAQ futures off 64. S&P futures down 25. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know how much you're really paying for life insurance through work? I can almost guarantee you're overpaying for limited coverage. I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent for over 20 years. My clients are shocked to learn how expensive life insurance at work really is because of a rate that's driven up by unhealthy people. Why pay more when you don't have to? For over 35 years, Select Quote has helped people save 50% or more by shopping highly rated insurance carriers. I found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Don't procrastinate. Workplace open enrollment will be here soon. Let SelectQuote save you money and get you the coverage you need to protect your family.
For your free quote in just minutes, call 1-800-865-2266. That's 1-800-865-2266. 1-800-865-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policy and carrier ratings at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies. 70 eastbound before Lake St. Louis Boulevard, there's an accident blocking the left lane. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach Route A. 270 northbound at Gravois, there's an accident blocking the right shoulder. Traffic is stop and go from 55. 55 northbound, heavy traffic Butler Hill Road to 270 and slow Bayless to Gasconade for road work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things because they believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. I'm Kat from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
Beautiful autumn day out there after a cool morning under clear skies. The winds will pick up. It will be a little breezy this afternoon, but lots and lots of sunshine and a perfect temperature of 72 degrees. Overnight tonight, near 50 in St. Louis, 40s across much of the area. The high again tomorrow under sunny skies, 72 degrees. It looks dry and mild all week. Enjoy it. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Newstalk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel Financial Advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert every Saturday morning at 9 right here on Newstalk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
They're going after him to intimidate us as Americans.
News, analysis, opinion.
This is a very convenient way to just throw a little more mud on Donald Trump.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog yet.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin Bob.
Commitment to America. We're going to talk to our good friend Rick Manning about that here in just a moment. But also something else to just kind of keep on your radar screen here for this week. And you notice that there's not a lot of talk about this in the media. Here's a Karina Jean-Pierre answering questions about, will the government be able to, federal government be able to operate after this Friday?
We believe, and I've said this before, there's still time for lawmakers on the Hill to enact a short-term funding bill by the Friday deadline. We remain confident that Congress will get this done.
Yeah, the fiscal year ends in, the end of this month is the end of the federal government's fiscal year.
Right.
And there's no agreement on the spending or a budget plan after this fiscal year, after the end of this month. I say shut it down.
Let it go. Just
let
precisely. It be. Does it really affect? I mean, besides obviously the federal workers who are getting furloughed and things like that. Obviously, that's kind of tragic.
Right.
But does it affect your life at all?
If you are enrolled in, even like all the benefits and the welfare stuff, that all goes through the states.
It has to go.
And so they would be able to. But yeah, if you're a federal worker, you get furloughed and be out of work. But then what happens is the Democrats throw a fit and say, you got to pay them all the back pay, even though they weren't working. Well, a lot of them don't work anyway when they are working. So, this would be a disaster for the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They would try to pitch it as a disaster for the Republicans. The media would try to pitch this as a disaster for the Republicans.
As they have done for every shutdown.
Absolutely, as they have done. And the thing is that while the American people can certainly be gaslit and misled a number of times, I think that when we see government shutdowns, they generally will I think this time they're going to see who the blame lies with, regardless of what the media says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to think so. I really would.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
Without any sort of, you would hope so as well. All right. Well, we'll try to get a hold of Rick Manning later on. He's not, we're not getting in touch with him right here. So, but check this out. So Donna Brazile, that brilliant political scholar that is Donna Brazile, she was on with, and I'm trying to do this, I guess, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm having, with my eye thing, I'm having a little trouble seeing the little mouse on my thing here. But anyway, so she was on This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
Okay.
And of course, they're talking about the commitment to America, and they're talking about the prospects for Democrats. Donna Brazile says, why can't people see what an awesome job Democrats and Joe Biden are doing?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, here it is.
Is there any argument that Democrats can make that will make inflation not the top issue on voters' minds as they go to the polls?
I mean, look, I think Democrats understand that the stakes are high. This is a consequential midterm, and we know we have to defy history. That being said, look at the alternative. What are the Republicans planning to do to harm you, to harm the economy? Joe Biden has really done a fabulous job, I think, in making sure that everyday Americans can feel the things that he's doing, whether it's lowering gas prices, making sure that our supply chain is now moving forward. He just stopped a rail strike, which really would have crippled our economy. So look, we know we have a big job to do in motivating people to get out to vote, but most importantly, Joe Biden is playing the long game. That's why I'm still with Joe Biden. I'm riding with Biden, baby.
I'm riding with Biden. I'm riding him right off that cliff.
Right off the cliff.
We got to let voters really feel what Joe Biden's doing. Oh, we do, Donna.
Oh, my gosh.
Careful what you ask for there, Donna.
I just see her sitting in the car next to him in the movie. I can't remember the name of the movie. Thelma and Louise. The final the car goes off the cliff. That's where she's riding with Biden right there.
And like we talked about earlier, this is what the Democrats all are doing. I mean, they're saying, no, what are you talking about?
It's great.
No, we had the Inflation Reduction Act. It's acting right now.
Yeah.
It's going to stop hurricanes. Right. It's going to stop everything.
Look how much inflation we reduced.
Right, yeah.
I guess.
Well, it went down an inch.
It just went up just an inch, which is great.
Hey, look, it stopped.
Remember, that's what he said. He's
Yeah,
like, well, it
it's
just went
up
up
an
just an
inch.
inch.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Month over month, it just went up an inch.
An inch.
Month over month.
Whatever
And
that meant.
And the entire world, is going, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
You're looking month to month?
With a few expletives thrown in
Right.
there.
We're talking about what it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
You know, kind of like apples to apples.
4 years ago, right.
And at home, your husband and wife, you're at home, you're saying, I don't know what we're going to do. We got to do something because the prices are so high. And then the other person looks at him and says, what are you talking about? No, Biden said everything's fine.
Right.
It's only up an inch.
It's only up an inch.
Here's the other
What are
thing
you talking about?
when the Democrats and they act exasperated that nobody's believing when they say we have created millions of jobs more than any other president in history and all this kind of stuff. I think that there are plenty of people who say, wait a minute, California, New York, Illinois, all of these blue cities, even in red states, St. Louis, Kansas City, you can go into other red states where local liberal governments shut down businesses, destroyed jobs, destroyed lives. That's what Sam Page did. And then when a business either reopens or people simply go back to work, look at all the millions of jobs we created. And you don't have to be a political junkie to see that was the pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some of us in this business going, you watch, they're going to shut down and destroy people's livelihoods and then brag about what an amazing job they did once people simply go back to work and they say, look at the arrows going way up.
Yeah. We called this way back in the day that they were going to take every credit they could of basically us declaring the pandemic over,
Right.
and getting back to our lives, and then they take all the credit for having done something to either save our lives or save our jobs or increase blah blah blah. Yeah, and it's all absolute garbage. They've been a hindrance every single step of the way.
Right, and we need to remember that. And that's the thing is voters, though. There are short attention spans. Mm-hmm. Even though, the J.B. Pritzkers and the Tashara Joneses and the Sam Pages of the world and Gavin Newsoms of the world made life absolutely miserable. It took years of court battles to finally put some of them in their place, even though they won't admit they were wrong still. It is important that we remember what they did. And it's the people who are not the hardcore Republicans and not the hardcore Democrats who are the ones that we should be talking to right now. The people who know what damage was done, but don't ask them to be team red or team blue.
Right.
That's one of the things that you've got to remember is you don't say, join the Republicans because they may not want the Republican brand. I mean, St. Louis County to me is a perfect example of this. Mm-hmm. Mark Mantovani, is not a right-wing conservative. He is far more of just a practical business guy who's probably somewhere in the center as opposed to the fringe leftist Sam Page. But it's a blue county.
Yeah.
So this is a chance to get rid of Sam Page. Now, are we going to agree with everything with Mark Mantovani? No, not everything. But is he going to be worlds better than Sam Page? Oh, heck yeah, he is. Without any question.
We have to be willing to take our small victories where we can get them.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of incrementalism has been how the left has gained so much ground on us over the last few decades, because we've been very much an all or nothing sort of party on this side, and it's like no, we've got to do this. You've got to be a solid conservative on this. Well, yes, we want all the solid conservatives, but
there
people,
is a time for that.
There is definitely a time for that, but there are people who are right now they're just anti-Democrat. We can work with that. Like that's a good place to start.
Yeah, Democrats, I think even if they're not going to admit it, they're not going to become a part of the red side. They're just not.
Right.
Sure.
But as long as they're...
At least not yet.
At least not yet. Well, yeah, they may even see the light later,
Mm-hmm.
But money speaks, and inflation really talks loudly to people. And if you're a Democrat, if you're one of the what we call the blue dog Democrat, you call them Dick Gephardt Democrats.
Yeah, or Ike Skelton Democrats, Harry Truman Democrats.
Those people are sitting at home going, this is not my party, but I can't verbalize it like this. But I can vote. I can vote like this.
Right.
Oh, definitely. And at the very least, you demoralize the vote on the left side.
Well, they should. I mean, there's really nothing getting them excited, which is why they're running on these issues like abortion, student loan cancellation, and they're wondering why it's falling flat. Abortion,
climate change.
Yeah, stuff that only appeals to the fringe to start with. Although the abortion thing is probably going to fire up those on the left a little more.
Yeah.
But pro-lifers are fired up as well. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 1019 941 News Talk STL.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us off.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis.
Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Discover. 70 eastbound before Lake St. Louis Boulevard, there's a crash blocking the two left lanes. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach 64. 70 eastbound stop and go Lindbergh to Cypress for an incident as you approach Cypress. 55 northbound slow between Butler Hill Road and 270. And again from Carondelet to Gasconade. That's for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. And 270 northbound, there's a crash on the right shoulder. They could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards, or they could talk about how with Discover you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Michaels Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michaels. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michaels Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with 1 unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies is a 10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
A top Florida Democrat endorses Ron DeSantis for re-election, and wait, there's more. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
You've got a great leader of your state when even Democrats jump the aisle to lend their support, and that's exactly what Palm Beach County Commissioner David Kerner did. In a news conference last week, he not only endorsed DeSantis, but also vowed to campaign for him every day until the November 8th election. Wow. Kerner also noted he wasn't endorsing DeSantis in a lesser of two evils decision, but rather because he genuinely and proudly supports him. He also noted there is too much on the line to remain silent. Kerner put a big emphasis on Ron DeSantis' work to support, fund, and boost law enforcement while while his opponent, Charlie Crist, is more focused on gun rights infringements for law-abiding citizens. This endorsement is a big deal. Not only is Palm Beach County the third most populated county in Florida, but it also went for Joe Biden in 2020 by 56%. The tide is changing, my friends, and it seems to be changing to red. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have our great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Interesting little tidbit in history. I was just scrolling through social media, and I came across a Fox News story. Guess what happened on this date in 1960?
This date in 1960.
Political junkies are gonna like this one.
I know not.
The first Kennedy-Nixon televised debate.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Nixon sweating and everything real bad.
Yeah, that was the first televised
The first televised
presidential debate ever, right?
On television, yeah.
Yeah, televised, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
nationally televised.
That's a big deal because
Yeah.
that changed politics.
Oh, it did. Without a doubt, it changed politics. And John F. Kennedy was way ahead of his time, understanding the medium, understanding the visual aspect of it. Whereas Richard Nixon campaigned, on the run right up to the night before. He was tired. He didn't feel good. He was sick. John F. Kennedy didn't do any campaigning 2 or 3 days before. I think it was 2 days before. Did a lot of campaign prep, relaxed in a hotel, probably had a bunch of girls sent in for him, whatever it is that John F. Kennedy did. And he was, he was fresh, he was rested, he was prepped. He used makeup, which was not something that men, typically did back then. And Richard Nixon, was not good at that sort of thing. So he just figured up until that time, you talk about your issues and you make your case and you try to debunk the other person's case, and then you win based on content. And JFK understood there was more to it than that.
Yeah.
At least with this new age. So he was ahead of his time when it came to the visuals. I mean, Ronald Reagan was ahead of his time, about 15 years later, 15 years later, when it came to understanding the use of media as well. I would argue Bill Clinton was a little ahead of his time in tapping into pop culture.
Yes. Absolutely.
As well, although Richard Nixon, with Laugh-In and some of those made some appearances, but
sure. And
Reagan,
of course, with his acting,
right? With his acting,
yeah.
But Clinton tapped into pop culture more than anybody. And of course, now it's
with his saxophone.
And, on Arsenio Hall. Yeah,
the saxophone on Arsenio Hall bought him a good 5-6 points.
Oh, easily.
Oh, with younger people, absolutely,
yeah.
with no question. Because when that happened, of course, he's got the sunglasses on, and people forget how big Arsenio Hall was at the time. And whatever happened to him? Where did he go?
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah,
he took a hiatus, I think, originally. His show he was like almost freaked out, and then he left, and then
the show ended like overnight.
Yeah, I don't remember this. The show didn't fade away. It just
popped
went
away.
off.
Stopped.
Yeah,
but
right.
the viewership of it was fading out. I had my first television job was in Columbia. And I was doing the overnight, what they used to call a master control operator. I don't think they do that anymore because it's all automated. But I actually had to roll the tapes and put the commercials on during the shows.
Oh, wow.
Put the satellite back on. And you're sitting around this big console. And that was my first TV job. And then when the news is on, you'd either do the teleprompter, which you used to do by hand, or you rolled the tapes for the news stories and all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting because with Arsenio Hall, I remember we dropped him at the end of a calendar year. So December 31st, we dropped the Arsenio Hall show at the station I was at. And he aired at, I think, I don't know, 10:30, 11, something like that.
Yeah, 11 Eastern, I think.
Yeah, and I guess it would have, but we carried him on the delay because we had a 10 o'clock news. And then I think there was something right after us. I think it was like Rush Limbaugh, the old TV show. And then we had Arsenio Hall at 11 from 11 to midnight. That's the shift that I was working. And it was 4 or 5 weeks before I finally got a call in the middle of the night. Somebody goes, "Where's Arsenio Hall?" I'm like, "Well, he hasn't been on for over a month." What?
He just disappeared.
I'm like, "You just now noticed?"
It's like, I don't watch it. I just
Right.
I just hit the satellite.
They were looking. Eventually, they're like, "What happened?" But up until then, he was immensely influential, immensely popular. And for instance, like even on like the gay rights debate.
Oh yeah,
he was kind of an interesting pioneer on that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he had people on his show who kind of spanned the gamut,
right?
And they were willing to talk about things that they usually weren't. I honestly, I think that was not exactly the start, but a lot of the thing that caused people in the entertainment realm to start delving into other areas of public life, like discussing these social.
You remember when he
commentary things.
staged that protest in one of his shows?
I don't remember.
Okay,
that.
so to me, it's obvious he staged it. They're like these gay rights, like angry militant gay rights people were like protesting because he wasn't, supporting their cause enough. And then he told them off and had great, lines that were clearly rehearsed. And it was like, it's none of your business if they're gay. And everybody screams and, the applause sign goes off and then they shrink off. And I'm like, that is staged. That's so freaking staged. But he did do some of those, issues. And who else did he have on there that was, like some of the pops culture scandals that were on there as well? He was a talented talk show host.
Yeah, very talented. But what I remember is now we have the talk show hosts at night today who are very politically leaning and they have issues and it's all hate comedy from Stephen Colbert, et cetera.
Yeah.
But actually, Arsenio Hall, he started doing more and more of that. And I think that may have hurt his ratings too.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he kind of was a one-trick pony with some stuff, but he was real talented.
He was really talented.
Very talented. Funny stand-up comedian, funny actor, and he just kind of went away. He just kind of disappeared.
I loved him on Coming to America.
He was awesome in that. Oh my goodness, he was fantastic. And I haven't seen the reboot of that, the Coming to America 2, the recent one. Was he in that?
I think
did they bring him back for that?
Oh wait, no. Was he in the original, or was that a
no?
different
He was
guy?
in the original.
Was
but
he was definitely.
It was he and Eddie Murphy starred. Yeah,
that's right. Yes,
but
I think he was in the reboot.
They did bring him back.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
It was
the
a
reboot.
it was a sequel.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, because I didn't see that one, but yeah, the original Coming to America. Oh, what a classic!
Yeah, the second one I think had something to do with his kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
That makes sense. Okay, so I got to correct something here. I was like, oh, we can't get a hold of Rick Manning. That's because we scheduled him at 7:35, and when I say we scheduled him at 7:35, I scheduled him at 7:35 and couldn't remember when I actually scheduled him. So that's my fault. We're talking to Rick Manning here in about 6 minutes. So I just want to make clear that was my goof up on that. It's Monday.
It happens.
Hang
Mike.
on. A little bit of coffee there.
Is that decaf?
Shh.
I was like, you know what?
Decaf has a little caffeine.
Yeah.
in it.
Does it have?
It
Going
does.
for the
It does.
effect here.
I just don't
little
see the
thing.
point of drinking something like that.
So here's the thing. Commitment to America. That's what we're talking about. Is this something that inspires you? Is this something that's really going to fire up the Republican candidates for U.S. House to take control? Is this the key to doing it? Kevin McCarthy thinks that this is the way to do it. And so Americans for Limited Governments, Rick Manning, going to be with us right around 7:35 to assess the plan, the marketing, the messaging. What's it going to take to block Joe Biden from continuing to just kind of wreak all the havoc that he's been wreaking on the country? Because Joe Biden's response is, hey, we need to spend billions of dollars more every year on climate change.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's just ahead right here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasevich. Singer Post Malone went to the hospital again Saturday after experiencing what he described as difficulty breathing and stabbing pain, forcing him to postpone his show in Boston. It was the second time in a week that Malone went to the hospital. He was treated for bruised ribs after falling into a hole on stage at the Enterprise Center last weekend. Governor Mike Parson on Friday named Circuit Judge Renee Hardin-Tammons to the Missouri Court of Appeals at St. Louis. The governor made the appointment pursuant to Missouri's nonpartisan court plan, in which the Appellate Judicial Commission gives the governor a list of 3 applicants from which to choose. Beginning today, a Metro Transit shuttle will transport riders who need to travel between the St. Louis Downtown Airport Sauget Business Park and the 5th and Missouri Transit Center. The van is a temporary alternative to the No. 2 Cahokia Metro bus while construction crews complete work on the Curtis Steinberg Bridge. That work is expected to be completed in 2 months. A 49-year-old Florissant man died after a crash Friday afternoon involving a Metro bus in North St. Louis County. Investigators say the Metro bus was stopped on the road of the route when the man approached it and struck the rear left side of it. And in sports, the Cardinals fell to the Dodgers 4-1 in LA last night. Next up, the Redbirds head to Milwaukee for a 2-game series. Tomorrow's game starts at 6:40 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. 70 eastbound before Lake St. Louis Boulevard, there's an accident blocking the 2 left lanes. Traffic is at a standstill as you approach 40. 61 southbound stop and go, growthy to 70 from that crash. 70 eastbound at Cypress Road, there's a crash in the left lane. Traffic is stop and go as you approach Lindbergh. 55 northbound slowing Butler Hill Road to 270 and Carondelet to Gasconade for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Don't miss the energy savings event at Lowe's. Save energy and save money on select major appliances, including Whirlpool. Selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. Visit Lowes.com for details. Valid through 9/28. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Beautiful autumn day out there after a cool morning under clear skies. The winds will pick up. It will be a little breezy this afternoon, but lots and lots of sunshine and a perfect temperature of 72 degrees. Overnight tonight, near 50 in St. Louis, 40s across much of the area. The high again tomorrow under sunny skies, 72 degrees. It looks dry and mild all week. Enjoy it. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
St. Louis's place to talk.
The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
October 9th, it's a Sunday. Get yourself some barbecue. Get yourself some freedom because this is Merc, people.
Merc.
That's right. The St. Louis County Young Republicans are hosting the second annual Freedom Fest barbecue. Eric Schmidt's going to be there, and Wagner's going to be there. Let's see here. Who else is Jay Ashcroft's
Secretary
going
of
to be?
State, yeah.
Who is Jay Ashcroft's going to be on this show tomorrow as well on Tuesday. Nick Schroer, a lot of our friends are going to be there. Learn more at stlyrs.com. We've also got all the information at NewstalkSTL.com. A good time will be had by all people, so check it out. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Ken Williams here, and we're joined now by Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government. And Rick, I'm hearkening back to the days of the contract with America. Newt Gingrich found that lightning in a bottle that motivated people to say, Republicans, all right, we're going to give you a chance, we're going to give you control. And now it seems like Kevin McCarthy is trying to kind of do the same thing. And on Friday, which I'm going to question the timing of his big announcement, but anyway, on Friday, going into the weekend when everybody tunes out of the news, he says, we've got the commitment with America. What do you think? Is he catching the same sauce that helped the Gingrich Revolution come into power?
Well, truthfully, no. The key thing with the contract with America is it laid out 10 things that were easily understood that the Republicans, if they took control, were promising to do. Okay, and they were very specific things. They weren't generic. They were very specific. So it wasn't make America safer. If an equivalent, and I don't think this was on contract with America, but an equivalent would be increased penalties for criminal abuse, criminal misuse of firearm. Okay, would be a very specific promise, as opposed to make America safer, which is, shall we say, could mean anything to anybody. And so while I think the intent is good, and they've got people from all sides of the Republican caucus to join in the press conference and the like, and support it, they're, by and large, the promises are too generic to really light anybody's fire. And I'm sure they're all tested and been tested for 100 years to make sure they meet the maximum number of people's all respond positively to the four-word themes that they've got. But, quite honestly, I was disappointed because I would have preferred for them to say specifically, we're going to cut spending by 10% to try to get inflation under control and eliminate this massive spending machine that exists. Those kind of concrete promises you can hold somebody accountable to. But generic, we're going to get inflation under control kind of stuff, that's maybe I'm cynical, but that's a kind of, I don't think it's going to cause anybody to go out and say, I've got to go vote for these guys. They're going to vote for them because they think Biden's doing a terrible job, and they want somebody in Congress to say no to him occasionally.
Good morning, Rick. Gabe Pfeiffer here. Based on your Twitter response here, which called this list pablum, we kind of got that feeling that that's where you're going to go with their commentary there. But besides that, do you think the Republicans had any confidence in this going in, given their Friday dump of this thing, as opposed to the Monday rollout?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's the Republican platform on new letterhead.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what they were thinking by rolling it out when you traditionally push out things you know aren't going to be very popular on Friday, and so maybe that kind of is a little bit of Freudian concern. The Republicans have made it, both on the Senate and House side, have made it really their primary objective to not say or do anything that might make anybody mad, because they feel they're going to win regardless, and they probably will. The challenge is, we've been through this rodeo before. The Republicans have been given control on at least two occasions where people said, I trust you, but I don't really trust you. I just don't like the other guys. Mm-hmm. And because they haven't, they basically get mired and can't get out of their own way once they get control. And they use the excuse, well, gee, we don't have the presidency. And then they use, oh, well, we don't have 60 in the Senate to justify why they don't do anything. I guess they're maybe a little bit shy of wanting to promise doing anything because after their failure to rip Obamacare out root and branch, as Mitch McConnell promised in 2016, after the failure of that promise, they were held accountable in 2018. I think they're trying to avoid accountability in 2024.
Thomas Massey sent out a very interesting tweet about, 40 minutes ago or so. He says, Biden isn't on the ballot this fall, nor is Trump. Members of Congress who abuse their spending power to incur $30 trillion of debt and cause massive inflation are on the ballot. The ultimate question to be answered in November is whether Pelosi will remain as Speaker. React to that.
He's right. He's right in that regard. That is the number one question. Will Pelosi be Speaker? Will Schumer control the Senate? Those are, and essentially Schumer through with Kamala Harris as breaking ties control the Senate. I mean, those are the questions that are on the ballot. There's no doubt about it. It's just Biden has such a terrible approval rating that it's almost impossible not to just say, okay, I'm not going to do anything and I'll win anyway. But the way you win big majorities is by having big ideas to get people, and that's what Gingrich understood, is he put ideas out there that had concrete proposals behind them that people so they could do a big checklist. And I think they got 8 out of the 10 checked off that they did of the Contract with America. But that's how you get big majorities. That's how you get 45, 50, 60 Republican new House members with the largest majority in history, in at least recent history, at least 100 years. And so that's how you do that. You don't do it through being weak and kind of sheepish and apologetic about your thoughts or being so generic that anybody on either side of the aisle can say the same thing. You have to be bold. And the lack of boldness and confidence by the Republican leadership is an indictment of their ability to win an argument of ideas. And for me, there's 2 things they need to do. Number one, they're going to have a continuing resolution that's going to pass in the next couple of days to continue spending in the government. They really ought to try to push it back past the election, past the Congress changing hands. They're likely going to have it go till December, and then we'll have a big fight in December about it with a lame duck Congress. And there's just no excuse for them to set funding priorities now rather than allowing the new Congress to set the funding priorities. Because more than likely, the Republicans are going to have their hands on the gavels, and those funding priorities should look dramatically different. They want to keep their promises. Start making so the first order of business and make sure that the appropriations for this country are done in March of next year, as opposed to September or December of this year, when Democrats still control the power structure.
Now, Rick, one of the things that I'm worried about is sort of the long-term consequences here. I feel as though the Republicans may be squandering an opportunity to really grow the base among the public, to delve into some demographics that we haven't done as well as we could have in the past. And based on this, as you said, generic list as opposed to a specific platform, it doesn't seem as though they're going to be able to take advantage of the momentum that they could be building here. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The fact of the matter is, you're not going to expand the party by sitting there and saying the same thing that you said in 1972. Okay, the basic same issue set and same way of talking about it. That is a great way to get the base out, and the base. But the fact is, the base has changed, and the Republicans in Washington haven't actually figured that out yet. They're the beneficiaries of it, but they haven't figured it out because, quite honestly, they don't like how the base has changed, and so they're running generic stuff that trying to appeal to the base that used to exist, and ignoring doing things that actually would be taking on challenges that the emerging base supports. And and trust me, the emerging base looks a lot more like America than anything the Democrats have. And it looks a whole lot more like America than the Republican base of 20 years ago. Because an emerging base is about, I want my children to be able to go to school and be educated without being basically indoctrinated. That goes across the board. People who want their kids don't want to have their kids feel safe in school and not feel like they're going to be undermined by the schools. That's the number 2 issue, the Washington Post ABC poll that came out. Education, number 2 issue. And it's that, and it doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, green, yellow, doesn't matter. You want your kid to get a good education. You don't want to be indoctrinated in all sorts of crazy stuff.
All right, Rick, people should be subscribing to your newsletter. Where do they do that?
Go to getliberty.org, getliberty.org, and just hit the subscribe button, put your email, it's free. And you'll get the exact same thing these guys get every single day, and hopefully you'll get one today if I finish writing it.
All right, Dave. Rick from Americans for Limited Government. Appreciate you being back on the program.
Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, and by the way, speaking of the education aspect of that, Rob Bluey from the Heritage Foundation and the Daily Signal, we're hitting that head on at 8:05 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Yeah.
Should we sing something?
You should probably
sing some bump music. There we go.
Hit the wrong button. It's Monday.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. 40 eastbound stop and go 170 to Big Bend, 70 eastbound before Lake St. Louis Boulevard. All lanes are back open from an earlier crash. Traffic is jammed from Wentzville Parkway. Also at Cypress, that crash has been cleared. Traffic is jammed from 270. There is a report of an accident at 70 eastbound at Lindbergh, blocking the right lane. 55 northbound slow Butler Hill Road to 270 and slowing from Carondelet to Gasconade for construction work that has the roadway reduced to 2 lanes. Don't miss the energy savings event at Lowe's. Save energy and save money on select major appliances, including Whirlpool. Selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. Visit Lowes.com for details. Valid through 9/28. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Ted Nugent, how are you, sir?
We're going to take this country back from the Marxist treasonous gang that infest our government, the media.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on News Talk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up. So if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dial off to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
That education issue that Rick Manning just brought up,
Yes.
I think he's absolutely right about that.
Huge.
Republicans should be hitting that harder and harder. Go ahead and tick off the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and have them write a bunch of crazy stuff about, about Eric Schmidt suing schools over CRT and masks and stuff. That's free campaigning for conservatives who are out there. That is something they should be hitting. And we're going to be talking with Heritage Foundation Vice President and also Executive Editor of the Daily Signal, which is a pretty good website out there. Rob Bluey is going to be with us at 8:05 to go over just that. I mean, what started with Glenn Youngkin should have been a model, like a template model for Republicans across the country. Some areas they have embraced it, and others I think they may have forgotten about it, but that absolutely should be one of the winning issues that they're all over. Some are, some aren't, but they should unapologetically be jumping all over that.
I don't understand why Republicans don't seem to be capable of basically accepting when somebody wins that you must replicate, at least on some level, what they just did. I mean, if you go back, you've got Youngkin. Yeah. You've got, I mean, even before that, you had look at the wins. Former governor of Arkansas.
Huckabee?
Huckabee.
Yeah.
Huckabee won like 90-something% of like demographics that usually don't vote Republican. And there was a reason for that. And you don't see that modeled anywhere else around the country. It's like, guys, just do the thing that wins.
Yeah, that's one thing that the Democrats do very well is messaging, and they do it in lockstep. I mean, if they have a message, they all get together and say, okay, this is today's message, and they pass it along. Not that it's necessarily a good thing. Their messages are horrible. But at the same time, the Republicans really could learn a lot of lessons about this.
Republicans are on the right side of the education issue.
Yeah.
And where they've embraced it, they've won.
Absolutely.
Don't be scared, of the media. Don't be scared of the teachers' unions. Teachers' unions are on their heels right now, as they should be because of everything they have done to children and families over the last few years. It's absolutely a winning issue. So we're going to talk with that with Rob right around 8:05. So we'll do that 8:04. So we'll do that in about 12 minutes. I learned something. I figured something out the other day in the house.
Yeah.
Okay. So my wife was gone again last week doing talks and conferences and stuff. Like she does, just one of those weeks where I was kind of the bachelor for the week again. And you guys know we have Rosie the cat.
Yes.
I came to a very sad conclusion.
Well, what's that?
You guys both have cats, so I think you guys
Yeah.
understand where we're coming from.
Yeah.
When Rachel's home,
Mm-hmm.
Rosie is always jumping up on Rachel's lap and doing the thing with kneading and purring and wanting to sleep on her lap. And
Mhm.
Rachel basically kind of like, okay, a couple scritches on the head and ignores her. I got work to do.
Right.
Okay, I'm the one that feeds Rosie every day.
Right.
I'm the one that Rosie comes to wake up if I sleep too late because she needs her food.
Because it's time
right.
to eat. Yeah.
I'm the one that she comes to and asks for treats.
Okay.
And so when Rachel's gone,
Mhm.
then she won't leave my side and she'll hang around me and she'll jump up and sleep on the bed when I'm there and everything. But when Rachel comes back, it's like I don't exist anymore. So I've come to the conclusion.
Yes.
I'm Rosie's side piece.
Yeah.
I'm Rosie's side chick.
Yeah.
That's what this. I mean, when it comes to feline, scritches and infection, I'm the side piece for Rosie.
There you
But
go.
I think all cats are that way too. I think that all cats have a side piece.
Yeah, and that's me.
See, now I look at it very differently. I don't think that we actually are cat owners. I think we are cat servants.
That's right.
I totally agree with that.
At the very least, that's how the cat looks. Like a dog. A dog says, okay, this guy feeds me, he gives me affection, and he cleans up after me. Oh, he must be God.
Yeah.
And that's how dogs look at us.
Right.
And then cats say, this guy feeds me, he gives me affection, and he picks up my poop. I must be God.
Right.
It's like that.
That's like the old joke. The old joke is that dogs have owners, cats have staff.
Exactly.
Well, a perfect example of that is this morning, my cat, he comes through the basement door. I have a little door that swings open. I can hear him coming up. And then I'm in the bathroom getting things together, and he starts weaving in between my legs, and then hugging me with his tail and all that. And then he bites me. And I know when he bites me that means I'm late on getting his food.
Yeah, that's what Rosie does. She will actually jump up and she's learned how to push me with her paw to wake me up. She'll meow and meow and meow, and I'll tell her to knock it off, and I'll scritch her on her head. And then she's getting more aggressive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If the bathroom door's not completely closed, he'll actually hit it and to get it open for me.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Let's go.
Let's move, sleepyhead.
Oh, geez.
Time for breakfast.
I'm just saying, as I told Rachel, that's the realization I've come to.
Yes.
My place in life.
It makes sense. It is what it is.
Oh, geez. Okay, let me follow up with something that Rick just said here a second ago. Jen Psaki was on Meet the Press this past weekend, and I'm going to say most of everything I read with Thomas Massey's tweet, Congressman Thomas Massey's tweet, is accurate, except when he said Joe Biden is not on the ballot, nor is Trump. Trump definitely not on the ballot, but I think to some degree Joe Biden is.
Absolutely.
On the ballot because he is the president. He is the leader of the Democratic Party. He is the leader of the party that's in charge. And even Jen Psaki surprisingly recognizes this as well. Here's what she had to say on Meet the Press. Oh, can you go ahead and bring me up there? Got me?
Yeah.
If it is a referendum on the president, they will lose, and they know that. They also know that crime is a huge vulnerability for Democrats. I would say one of the biggest vulnerabilities.
And she was talking about if it's a referendum on the president, Democrats will lose. That's the full context of what she was saying, is that if this is a referendum on the president, that they will lose. That's Jen Psaki. And, when I saw that clip, I'm like, ooh, I better find another one to back that out to make sure I've got that in context. No, that's exactly what she said.
Oh, absolutely.
There was just a bunch of introductory stuff she said before that.
And the thing is, every candidate is going to be judged based on how closely they align with Biden. I mean, that's what puts Biden on the ballot for all of these situations.
But I loved Massey's messaging saying this election really is going to be about, is Nancy Pelosi going to remain the Speaker of the House? And you could say, by extension, is Chuck Schumer going to remain in control of the United States Senate? That's one of the strongest arguments that Eric Schmidt has going into this 2022 elections.
For sure.
And when it comes to the U.S. House races, that's one of the strongest ones that the Republican candidates have. And some candidates are better than others. This is something that should shift momentum in Illinois in some areas. Because remember, in Illinois, the legislature, Democratic-controlled legislature, man, did they work as hard as they possibly could to draw as many Republicans out of the Congress as possible. So while so many people want to talk about, it's guaranteed Republicans are winning all these, remember, a lot of states are now dealing with districts that have been redrawn.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's a factor. And that's more of a factor, I think, when a lot of people realize, which is why you really, in many states, can take nothing for granted. Now, I don't anticipate any changes, any seats changing hands in Missouri. But that doesn't mean that you can take the day off on Election Day.
Oh, for sure.
The state legislature. I mean, there's a couple pretty close, tight state legislative races that are important, and we've got to make sure that people are coming out for races like the county executive one in St. Louis County.
Yeah, please don't sleep on these elections. Please just, get in, and not only that, but just we need to be more proactive. We need to actually talk amongst ourselves and actually get people who maybe even aren't all that plugged into politics, get them interested in going with you. Go pick them up. Do what you need to do because we need to really be more engaged.
The danger for the right now is lulling into a sense of security and apathy. Most dangerous thing that can happen. And if at any point you go, no big deal, we got this. Do that to yourself. Do that to yourself. All right, Rob Bluey from Heritage Foundation and the Daily Signal. Let's talk about this education thing and why conservatives should be all over it. And that includes finding really good state school board candidates as well in every district around this area.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason.
Hurricane Ian is less than 100 miles off the Cayman Island. Its 75-mile-per-hour winds expected to intensify rapidly as the storm heads north toward Florida.
The state keeping a cautious eye on Ian, expected to gain strength as it moves toward the Gulf, says the National Hurricane Center's John Cangelosi.
We're actually forecasting what's called a major hurricane, which is Category 3 or stronger. So we have pretty good confidence that this is going to be quite a big deal. What we don't really know at this range is who's going to see the greatest impact.
Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency.
Make preparations now, and I know a lot of people have been doing it throughout the state of Florida, and the things that you should be prepared with are things like food, water, batteries, medicine, fuel.
President Biden has also declared an emergency and postponed his September 27th trip to Florida. I'm Julie Walker.
A deadly school shooting in central Russia. 13 people killed, more than 20 others wounded. Police say the gunman took his own life. A Russian army recruitment officer in critical condition after being shot in Siberia.
The filming is a little shaky, but it seems clear what happened. Military Commissar Alexander Yeliseyev is at an army enlistment office in the remote Siberian town of Ust-Yimsk. Another man raises his gun and a shot is fired.
The BBC's Paul Moss says there is a suspect in custody. Other Russian recruitment offices have been firebombed in recent days. Italy will soon be under new management. The far-right Brothers of Italy swept national elections. Its leader, Giorgia Meloni, set to become Italy's first female premier. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures down 116 points. The NASDAQ futures trading 19 points lower. More on these stories, townhall.com.
And my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Progressive is America's #1 motorcycle insurer, so we understand motorcycles. No, really, we have a bike translator.
Okay, so this bike says she is struggling with her place in the motorcycle community. Well, she says she hasn't peaked yet, but she's having a little epiphany, okay? Oh, that maybe life itself is the peak. Interesting. In my experience, I found that... Oh, so I just translate. Not allowed to have opinions. Got it.
Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 70 eastbound at Lindbergh, there's an accident blocking the right lane. Traffic is stop and go from 141. Also 70 eastbound before Lake St. Louis Boulevard. All lanes are back open from that earlier crash. Traffic is still stop and go from Wentzville Parkway. 40 eastbound jammed from Boone's Crossing to Chesterfield Parkway East. Westbound 40 slowing from Hampton to Big Bend. And 170 from Ladue to 40, traffic is slow. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the NewstalkSTL Traffic Center.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
Beautiful autumn day out there after a cool morning under clear skies. The winds will pick up. It will be a little breezy this afternoon, but lots and lots of sunshine and a perfect temperature of 72 degrees. Overnight tonight, near 50 in St. Louis, 40s across much of the area. The high again tomorrow under sunny skies, 72 degrees. It looks dry and mild all week. Enjoy it. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
The St. Louis Young Republicans and 1019-94.1 News Talk STL is proud to present the Freedom Fest Barbecue, Sunday, October 9th. Tim Jones and I will be emceeing the luncheon at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters. Adult tickets are $30, student tickets are $20, and kid tickets are $5. We will have special guests like Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and more. Stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, and enjoy tasty eats at the Freedom Fest Barbecue. For more information, visit NewstalkSTL.com.
If you believe Brandon and the supply chain issues are still in crisis, or even if you don't, hurry into Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, for the best selection of firearms, suppressors, holsters, ammunition, pepper spray, and knives. Browse through our constantly changing inventory, order something special, or have us repair or modify that firearm that you've been putting off. Try our firearms training simulator. See the demo video on our website. Come into Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, and SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
The candidates.
We're going to win this campaign.
The issues.
Gas prices, Biden inflation.
The election news, analysis, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. Decision 2022 happens.
There's a backlash coming
on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I love Jesus. He was my superhero.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Twitter is like being able to read every toilet wall in the world.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin God.
One of the things that is among the most personal that we take in our lives is the education of our children in general. And tragically, that has become highly political when it comes to the education of children. Okay, I think you know what I mean by that, but we're going to make sense of it in just a moment. I'm Mike Ferguson. Maybe I don't know about the epicenter of the debate over public education and children and indoctrination and all the stuff that goes with that over the last couple of years. But I think one of the prime examples that people point to when it comes to that argument is in Virginia, Loudoun County, Virginia in particular, where a very, very left-leaning, left-wing, some would say, school board is essentially rewriting how education used to be done in the country. Rob Bluey joins me now. He is the Vice President of Communications with the Heritage Foundation and also the Executive Editor of the Daily Signal. Rob, welcome back to the show. It's been a while since you've been on. You kind of have a front row view of what's happening in Loudoun County from where you are.
That's right. Well, I'm a parent myself and live in Fairfax County, which is a neighboring county in Northern Virginia. And we have seen this take front and center. You're absolutely correct in describing Loudoun County as the epicenter, because when Governor Glenn Youngkin was running for office against Terry McAuliffe, this was the big issue that I think mobilized a lot of parents to end up supporting the Republican candidate, and much to the surprise of the Democratic establishment, frankly. But parents were fed up. They saw what happened during COVID. They got a front row seat because many schools decided to go virtual. And they were able to see on Zoom calls and through other communication what exactly was happening in their kids' classrooms, and they did not like it. And to exacerbate the issue, you had, exactly as you said, a left-wing takeover of so many of these school boards pursuing policies either on critical race theory or transgender issues, things that are better left discussed at the kitchen table at home than in the classroom at school. And I think that parents have just said, enough is enough. We want to see change.
And there are two pushbacks against this. One, we're going to start with what Governor Youngkin is doing. And then secondly, some proposed legislation in the U.S. Senate as well that I hope we have time to talk about. Governor Youngkin has essentially said, okay, we're going to make it a matter of policy that these things, sexuality, gender, some of these other things, that is not to be pushed in the school district. And a lot of school districts, including Loudoun County, and I say including Loudoun County because there are others around the country that say, no, we insist that we will be doing this. What's the response that you're seeing up close in Loudoun County? Because I do think, Rob, that it's reflective of what's happening around the country.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to remember, as you talked about, that Governor Youngkin was really propelled into office on this issue of parental rights. So, I mean, voters turned out and put him in the governor's mansion in Richmond precisely because they wanted to see him take action and put forward policies that would support and empower parents. And so what happened was on a Friday evening, the governor put out model policies that all of a sudden erupted over the weekend in Virginia school districts as some, in some cases, sending parents an email, as I received in Fairfax County, saying that they were taking a close look or outright opposing them simply because the model policies would afford parents the opportunity to make decisions that belong at home as opposed to school. And what am I talking about? Well, in some cases, we know that schools have begun transitioning students to different sex and gender that their parents might disagree with. I mean, these are major life-altering decisions that parents had no knowledge about. In some cases, the schools were purposely hiding from parents. Well, Governor Youngkin has said any conversations like that belong at home with parents. They don't belong in the school. But I mean, it goes beyond just this issue of transgenderism. It touches everything, whether it be critical race theory or other subjects that are being taught in school, and really giving parents a seat at the table. I don't think anything in Governor Youngkin's policies are radical or really out of the norm. In fact, they're common sense ideas that we would expect as parents for schools to be adopting. And so the fact that you have so many in Northern Virginia opposing them, I think is a testament to their liberal and far left values as it is anything.
Rob, it seems to me that for most people, they would say, wait a minute, well, of course, having the consent of the parents would be a given, whether you're liberal or whether you're conservative. And in so many areas, it sounds like we actually have a system of public school system establishment versus parents. How do we get to a point where school districts say the parents are not allowed to know what lifestyles or major life decisions children are talking about choosing?
Well, I put the blame primarily on administrators and teachers unions. I think the administrative bloat that we have seen in so many public school districts, and the creation of diversity, equity, and inclusion offices or diversity officers and things of this nature in the administrative space really takes away from what schools are primarily meant to do, which is that teach your kids the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and stick to those school subjects. Instead, there's so much focus on social engineering and other things that go into our education system today that it's really, I think, irritated parents and led many of them to speak out and try to seek changes. Teachers unions are also at fault. The teachers unions are oftentimes very political. The dues that teachers pay often go into supporting left-wing candidates. And so it's just a perpetual cycle. Those teachers unions then endorse school board candidates who are probably going to be pursuing policies that are in line with the teachers union and again, the far left causes. So those are some of the reasons. I think what we've seen as a result of that is parents stepping up and taking action. Sometimes it's through their PTA, sometimes it's through school committees, and we've seen an outpouring of support, hundreds of conservatives throughout the country stepping up and running for school boards themselves and trying to make changes. And so that's where I think the real action comes. It's when you're in a position of power to make decisions. And it's encouraging that so many parents have decided to get involved in their kids' education and make the changes, hopefully, for the better.
You are listening to Rob Bluey from the Heritage Foundation and the Daily Signal. All right, last few minutes we've got here, Rob. This has now made its way into the U.S. Senate, where Senator Tim Scott out of South Carolina says, what we should do is we should tie federal funding to whether or not local school districts at least get the consent of the parents in these matters. Now, I hate the fact that we had to get to a point where the federal government is addressing this. I've got my thoughts on federal involvement in education, but that's irrelevant at the moment. What is it that Senator Scott is proposing, and what's your assessment of it?
Well, first of all, I think I agree with you, and I just want to make clear that even those of us at the Heritage Foundation, while we see incremental steps like this as a positive, ultimately our goal is to eliminate the Department of Education entirely, a long-standing goal of the conservative movement, and something that I hope our next president is able to put front and center as a policy initiative. Until that happens, though, there are steps that I think we can take, and that is cutting off funding for schools that disregard parents and take away the rights that parents have. And so what Senator Tim Scott is attempting to do with his Protect Kids Act is exactly that. It's really about giving parents a greater say and using the enforcement measures that come with funding to hold schools accountable. Too often, you have a situation where Washington or state capitals are essentially holding the purse strings and tying the hands of schools because they're so dependent on that money for their operations. I mean, look no further than what happened during the COVID crisis and how Congress appropriated billions of dollars that went into education in the education establishment, and many schools appropriating those funds for a variety of causes, not necessarily even things that they were supposed to be doing with them. And so anytime money is involved, I think that you have a situation where there's a greater incentive to maybe hold the schools more accountable when you have that threat of withdrawing that funding. Now, let's be realistic. This is something that the Democrats in Congress and the White House are not likely to support, so it will require a change in leadership for these proposals to move forward. But we're seeing with the House Republicans' new commitment to America and efforts like Senator Scott's that there's a real desire to make education and parental rights front and center in the 118th Congress next year.
Well, and that leads to my last question, because we've got about 30 seconds left. Obviously, Senator Scott's bill goes nowhere at the moment because of the makeup of Congress and the White House. But can that bill actually still have an effect on school districts or the debate or future policy?
I think so, because I think education and parental rights are going to be one of the big issues on the ballot this November. And so any efforts like Senator Scott's will certainly help generate interest and enthusiasm on the part of conservatives to get out and vote. And I hope all Americans exercise their right to vote, particularly in those school board elections we talked about, because sometimes the local leaders that you have are the ones that will have the biggest impact on your life.
Without question. Rob Bluey from both the Heritage Foundation, heritage.org, and Daily Signal. Appreciate you being back on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I think Rob nailed it right there. This is definitely something that will be on the ballot, and I think that's good for the country. I think it's definitely good for conservatives, and by extension, obviously, the Republican Party, even the less conservative parts of it, that parents are motivated and getting out to the ballot to make sure that we send a clear message. You're not allowed to keep doing this to our kids. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Blindster. 55 northbound stop-and-go traffic between Weber Road and Gasconade. The roadways reduced to 2 lanes for construction work. 270 northbound is jammed from Gravois to Manchester. Southbound slow Page to Ladue. 170 southbound slowing the Parkway to 40. 70 eastbound jammed Route Z to Lake St. Louis Boulevard from an earlier accident. And 61 southbound stop-and-go from Piney to 70 from that crash. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Kat from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
If you're concerned about the current market and the 40-year record high inflation that we're seeing, you're not alone.
Credit card usage skyrocketing and at record highs, savings rates plunging. It's 100% certainty that you're in recession now.
The good news is, for decades, Steve All and his team have been helping people just like you protect and grow your income. And most importantly, not run out of money.
My clients that are currently sitting there on guaranteed incomes, they're not really worried about what's happening in the market. So they're more at peace because every month that paycheck comes in.
Call Steve today for your customized market protection plan. 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Fox News commentary.
A top Florida Democrat endorses Ron DeSantis for re-election, and wait, there's more. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
You've got a great leader of your state when even Democrats jump the aisle to lend their support, and that's exactly what Palm Beach County Commissioner David Kerner did. In a news conference last week, he not only endorsed DeSantis, but also vowed to campaign for him every day until the November 8th election. Wow. Kerner also noted he wasn't endorsing DeSantis in a lesser of two evils decision, but rather because he genuinely and proudly supports him. He also noted there is too much on the line to remain silent. Kerner put a big emphasis on Ron DeSantis' work to support, fund, and boost law enforcement, while his opponent, Charlie Crist, is more focused on gun rights infringements for law-abiding citizens. This endorsement is a big deal. Not only is Palm Beach County the third most populated county in Florida, but it also went for Joe Biden in 2020 by 56%. The tide is changing, my friends, and it seems to be changing to red. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at NewstalkSTL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The week ahead. Monday, SpaceX founder Elon Musk is set for a deposition in a lawsuit over his efforts to pull out of his $44 billion purchase of Twitter. Wednesday, President Biden is scheduled to host leaders of Pacific Island nations as China's growing influence throughout the Indo-Pacific raises concerns in Washington. Thursday is National Coffee Day in the U.S. and Canada. The International Coffee Organization uses the day and International Coffee Day on Saturday to raise awareness for coffee farmers around the world to make a living wage. Friday, the